Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
My dear friend, Jimmy Flowers, always keeps me informed as to what's going on, and he sent me some very important information. How do you know if you are going to a redneck church? Here's just a couple of examples. You know you're in a redneck church if, when the pastor says, "I'd like to ask Bubba to come up and help take the offering," and 5 guys and 2 women stand up. And you know you're in a redneck church if the choir is known as the OK Corral. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Morning on a Tuesday. Nice day outside. Wow. Oh, thank you, Kate Smith. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell, and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 great locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland in Burley, and Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today, 734-6969. I am graced and blessed with a couple of lovely ladies that helped me put this program on. I've got to say it in protocol because I don't want to lose my happy home, Deanne, of course, and then also over at the main studios, Gina. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I got some great stories to tell you this morning.
Oh, you do?
I know. Right after we get done with the pledge and everything, I've got some stories that'll make you giggle.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm in the mood today to giggle.
Oh, by the way, in case I forget, right after the pledge and after our first set of commercials, we have a birthday boy in the audience that's standing there with his finger in his birthday cake, sampling the frosting. And I'll tell you who it is in just a few minutes.
You got it. I'm prepping the song as we speak.
Prepping, you say?
Yes.
We're prepping. That's the first time this program has ever been prepped. And who do we have for a pledge?
We've got Rotten on for the pledge and Michael Rogers on for the West.
Oh, goody. Dal, go ahead, my friend.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sir, I want to tell you, you always do a wonderful job, and God bless you for being such a good friend to this program. Thank you very much.
Okay, talk to you later.
You bet, buddy. Thank you. Hey, don't forget, Rock Creek Growers on the corner of Maxine Lane and Irene Streets in Kimberly. Oh, 35% off all the trees and shrubs and the plant materials. They're just saying, come on in, get what you need. And they'll help your place just look beautiful, help everything grow. Rock Creek Growers on the corner of Maxine Lane and Irene Streets with the Anderson family. They've been in business since 1988, and they know plants and they know beautifying your property. Right now, we also know a man that does the weather better than anybody else, and that's MichaelRogersWeather.com. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. You are so kind. Morning, everybody, from U.S. Highway 395 heading north. In fact, we're heading on up to Spokane, Washington. It's a beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest. It's going to be a nice day in the Magic Valley of South Central Idaho. Looking for sun and cloud today, official term coined by the National Weather Service, partly sunny. 83 for 957 for the Illinois low. We're going to start getting some showers beginning tomorrow, but it's still summertime weather, even though we are officially in the fall. So if you happen to see a isolated storm today. Do not be surprised. We're still going to that. But we got showers tomorrow, and we also got showers the day after tomorrow. But otherwise, have yourself a great day. Enjoy the weather. What do you got?
Thank you, Michael. Brought to everybody by Rock Creek Growers on the corner of Maxine Lane and Irene Streets for the southeast corner of Kimberly. You're going to love going there. Nice people, the Andersons at Rock Creek Growers, bringing you Michael Rogers weather. We got a bunch of things to tell you about here, and I'm going to have a birthday and everything. I got to get some commercials out of the way first because I want to take some time and really amplify the fact that this guy's getting old. Okay? Stand by just a minute. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Went in there the other day and literally picked up, I don't know how many shirts and how many Wranglers and everything else, but oh my, I said to my wife on the way home, holy cow, my clothes look good. I don't remember looking that good before. They do a wonderful job. Absolutely. They just renovate your clothes. Looking good. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Also, I'm very, very fortunate, and boy, it's helped our business a bunch, having SafeLink high-speed wireless internet right here in the house. Oh my. What it's done for my business has just absolutely increased the efficiency tenfold, and I just can't thank Shane and the rest of the crew at SafeLink enough. What a great professional group they are, and professional installation, no credit checks, no contracts required. I'll tell you what, get a hold of them today. SafeLink high-speed wireless internet. You're going to be thanking me. Call them at 677-8000, 677-8000. Gina, my dear Gina.
Yes, sir.
You know whose birthday it is today.
Yes, I do.
You do?
I do.
You snuck one in on me then.
It's called Facebook.
It is George Mass's birthday. And the city of Rupert has asked that he please not have a cake with candles because they don't want the community to be underneath a fire alert.
That's too good.
Are we going to go ahead and play that song?
We are.
I know. Bring it up. Just bring it up. Today is your birthday, George. Man, the world is a better place because of George Mass. His lovely wife, Donna, says that every day.
Does she mean it, though?
I don't know about that. Good day and a happy birthday to George Mass over in Rupert. I'll tell you, good old boy.
So what's he, like 49 again?
And holding. He's in a holding pattern.
He's in the holding pattern. Gotcha.
Yeah, I got a couple of things I want to say, and I want you to get back involved here in a minute. But you know, of course, the JB's is closing. They're in their last week, and we want to say basically kind of a condolence because they've been so nice to work with. JB's and Daniel and the rest of the staff at JB's in Burley. And I feel very bad that they're closing, and I wish them the best of luck and success. They're on their last couple of days. They're at JB's, 136 East 5th North, and just stop in and tell them how much you appreciate them. They're going to be closing this next weekend, but our congratulations to everything they did to help us on Zeb at the Ranch. We appreciate it.
Amen.
I'm going to give you a little story, and I know this man. And I've met this man, and this man has kissed the hand of my wife.
Oh, really?
Yes. Here is an interesting little oops. I don't know if you caught this or not. London's Metropolitan Police have apologized to Prince Andrew after mistaking him for an intruder and demanding he identify himself as he strolled in the garden of Buckingham Palace this past Wednesday. The second son of Queen Elizabeth is also known as the Duke of York, and he was taking it all in stride, and he said they were just doing their job. But we met him over in Spain when I went over to do the World Equestrian Games in Madrid. Mm-hmm. And he came over, a tall, very tan gentleman. His picture's in the paper, by the way. And came over and introduced himself and said that he was Prince Andrew, and the better known as the Duke of York.
My question is this. Don't the Royal Guards know?
Evidently, they didn't know him real good. He has a place on the Mediterranean.
Yes.
And I'll tell you an interesting, quick, funny story about this, okay? I didn't know who he was.
Okay.
And a dear friend of mine had Don Bird from California, and Don has passed away, and I just really miss Don. You've heard him on my program. He's an author and quite a horseman. And Don said all of a sudden, honestly, this is what happened. You can ask my wife. Andy, come here and meet our announcer. So this man walks over wearing a camel hair sports jacket and white shirt, deeply tanned, and come over and kissed my wife's hand, and then he shook hands with me, and we were talking, and I said, what do you do? And he looked at me kind of funny, and he says, well, basically nothing. And I said, boy, that'd be enviable to have that kind of a job. And we talked a little bit about where he lived and everything, and I said, I'm sorry, I did not catch your name. And he said, I'm sorry, I didn't give it. I am Prince Andrew, better known to most as the Duke of York, and I felt like my deodorant had worn off.
Because you're thinking to yourself, I should have known.
I didn't, and everybody kind of giggled and tee-heed in the background, but he's a very gracious, very nice man.
Well, I'm
very
glad
nice.
that you had a wonderful experience with him.
Yeah, my wife never did wash that hand.
Well, I'm sure she hasn't.
Boy, that hand after 13 years is starting to really cause some problems. We're going to pay some bills and then get serious for a little bit. Hey, listen, Ramsey Heating and Electric. We're going to be over there early tomorrow morning. And Gina, what time do you go to work?
Too early in the morning?
No, but what time?
Usually I'm here at about 7:30.
All right, now here's the deal. Stop over to Ramsey's. George Mass is going to be cooking biscuits and gravy and everything.
I'm so there early.
And I'm buying.
Okay.
I'm buying. Okay, it's on me.
Okay.
And it's all going to be a part of Patriots Day and Salute to Farmers tomorrow at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And we're going to be there all morning tomorrow from 8:06 to 11 on the program. But earlier, come by and have breakfast at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Over 57 years in business serving you. Stop in tomorrow morning.
What time are you going to get there?
Probably about 6:30 or 6:45.
That's what I kind of figured. Okay, I'll just meet you over there.
I'll buy you breakfast.
Okie dokie.
All right, see you there. Also, our friends at Valleywood, we got 2 home runs tomorrow. George Mass is going to be cooking breakfast over at Ramsey's. Then he's going to skedaddle over to Valleywood and cook lunch. I mean, this guy is Chef Boyard George Mass. And he's just absolutely going to do a whale of a job. And tomorrow over at Valleywood, they got all kinds of specials in the store for Patriots Day. Proud to be an American. And later on this morning, we're going to have Steve on the phone with us. And I'm telling you, you can get your boots, you can get your hats, you can get your ropes, your horse tack, your feed. It's all there for the family, the farm, and the home, everything in the ranch at Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. And don't forget to go over there for lunch tomorrow. Boy, we got a busy day tomorrow. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning. I have 2 items. The first one is, did anybody show up for Simpson's big to-do?
I don't know because I was not there, and one thing I never do on this program is say anything or talk about anything unless I have first-hand knowledge. Helen, I don't know.
Well, I was just wondering, there's the one fellow that got on and said that he stayed there till 6:30 and nobody showed up.
Yeah.
So I was wondering. And another thing, too, have you ever heard the story about the woman or the gal up on the mountain, and she's seen this snake, and he was fleet, and then, please take me, get me warm, and, all this stuff, and she finally put it in a pocket, took him down. Oh, when he got down and got nice and warm, he bit her. And let's liken that to Obama.
I'm going to be talking about some of that this morning, but tonight is the big speech, as you are probably well aware, and he's going to look in the camera after he's checked his teleprompter so he knows what to say, and he's going to plead to the American public about giving us the big tears, the alligator tears, and everything else, and try to get us involved in a mess that could be of permanency. Once we get over there that deep in Syria after Iraq, Afghanistan, and Iran, and everything else, I don't think we can get out of that quicksand. And I'm certainly hoping that something, somehow can be done to tell this president, shut up, sit down, and do not get involved.
I don't think he's capable of shutting down and being good.
Helen, while you're on the air, I'm going to give you the first chance at this, and I want you to answer me honestly, okay? You always have been a great listener. If we had another insurrection in this country, like the Watts riots that took place in California, and California and Los Angeles and the area were burning, and insurgents were running everywhere, and they were shooting everybody, and everything was underneath a state of siege. Would you, as an American citizen, want someone of another country to put battleships off the coast of California and threaten the president, if you don't settle watch, we will?
That is something I'd try to probably keep my nose out of, because they brought it on themselves.
Isn't the analogy of what's happening in Syria almost the same as what happened and could happen again in California?
Absolutely, and he will not listen or learn.
I thought of that this morning and took some notes down early this morning as I was sitting there going, hey, wait a minute. Syria is a sovereign country, and they're having their own internal problems. What right do we have to make threats of bombing, killing, and more mayhem when, in essence, if the same thing happened again in one of our cities in this country, Chicago, New York, or L.A., what right does somebody have to park a boat off the shore and say a threat to us?
Well, you know what Obama would do? He would go to the nearest golf course and play golf.
And, you know, I can't argue with that. I tend to agree with you. Helen, thank you. God bless and have a good day. Thank you so much. Thank you. Very nice lady right there. Appreciate it. But don't think about it, folks. Think about it. Seriously. If we have a conflagration like that, and it could happen again with the civil unrest in this country, might be a Muslim uprising, might be another Watts riot. What is the difference, please tell me, when you have armed insurgents, whether it's in Detroit, L.A., maybe Orlando, Florida, New York City? What is the difference when there is looting, killing, and mayhem going on, and it's basically the government and police, etc., against the insurgents, and somebody parks a boat off our shores and says, you know what? We're going to bomb you, and you better stop it right now. Really, tell me, what is the difference? 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, our friends at Rain for Rent. Let me tell you, they got some really good people there, including Frank Jensen and Skip Hilton and Brooks West and all the guys and gals over at Rain for Rent working for you at 134 South, 600 West, Highway 27 in Paul. And they've got industrial services, too, including pumps with a great, great capacity and all the tanks and the roll-off boxes, filtration units, spill containment, traction mats, everything, they've got it. They are really helping you. Go to their website at rainforrent.com, and you can check out everything they do. And they've also got all the Reinke pivot sales and service. They help you. Rain for Rent, 134 South, 600 West, Highway 27 in Paul. Really good folks. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to say this, and please put this down as a done deal. We are going to be at Perkins Restaurant on the 26th in Burley for our next lunch bunch. I urge you, all of you, to be there, and we're going to be celebrating 2 birthdays along with being at the lunch bunch on the 26th. 2 very special birthdays. And Perkins Restaurant and Bakery at 800 North Burley, they always have a line there that says, where we believe in being best buds with your taste buds, and it's really the truth. I mean, all the pies, all the breakfast, the luncheon menus, everything, and we're going to be there. John Webster and I came to an agreement, and we're very happy to be moving over there and save lunch bunch, and I really appreciate it. So be there on the 26th. I'm urging everybody to be in attendance. Perkins Restaurant and Bakery in Burley on the 26th for lunch bunch. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244. Good morning, you're on the air.
Got a question for you.
Oh, my.
What was the United Nations formed for?
Supposedly for harmony, peace, and unity in the world, and everybody can sing Kumbaya, hold hands, make chocolate s'mores, sit by the fire, and just go, oh, what a beautiful world.
Well, then why don't we get our nose out of that over there and let them do it?
You know, the United Nations, Dal, now this is my own personal opinion, and I know my good friend Adrian Arp is listening, and he would concur. The United Nations has turned into a toothless guard dog that can't even bark. And I absolutely have no use for the United Nations. I think it has turned into, right now, one of the most insidious, one of the most devilish associations of world and global politics that I've ever seen. I don't trust them. I think they will do anything they can to put the thumbs down on the United States, our Constitution, and our value system. I don't like the UN.
I agree with you, and our congressman better get us out of it.
You know, Dal, I'll say this, and don't yell at me being the messenger, but I think you have to weigh my words and understand where I'm coming from. I don't think it'll ever happen because we've let it get too big.
I agree with you. Yeah.
All right, sir. God bless you, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.
You bet. Caller, quickly, you're on the air. I got a minute and a half before a hard break.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know, Obama's mouth is so big, it's easy to get a size 12 foot in there. I think Putin has stole Obama's thunder a long time ago. Now Putin is in control of what's going on over in the Middle East.
You know, now stop right there, because you're saying something that, with all the studies and things that I've read over the last couple of weeks, you know, Tony, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. All you have to do is just pick up things and read things and study things. And I honestly believe that Putin right now is the puppeteer, and he's pulling the strings on everybody else. I totally am in agreement with you right now.
Oh, absolutely. You know, the Soviets have been in control of a lot of the wars that we've had in Korea and Vietnam that have cost us, I don't know how many millions of American lives.
Yeah.
They've been behind a lot of things.
Well, there's so much going on behind the scenes. And did you hear the gaffe, the misspeak by John Kerry might come true when yesterday he said something like, well, maybe they ought to give their chemical weapons in Syria to an international community partner. Guess who stepped up and volunteered to take them? Oh, gee, Tony, I bet you can't guess.
Oh, no, I'm totally confused.
Just go ahead and say it, Tony. Who do you think it might have been?
Well, the Soviet Union.
Oh, Tony, you win a prize. You get a round-trip ticket to Paul, Idaho.
Yeah, Putin is pulling the strings over there.
Yeah.
And our troubles are just going to begin if we don't get this, what do I call him, a jackass or a knucklehead out of the White House.
Gee, Tony, don't hold in how you feel. Just let it out. You'll feel better.
I know it. I really feel it. My heart's just pumping like heck. Right?
Well, you're too shy. That's your problem. Thanks, Tony. See you later. Travel Loop Supply, 1050 West, 203 south of Hayburn at Jim McCall's farm. He steps out the kitchen door and steps right into the office door. And this guy's work. That's all he thinks about. 4-letter word all day long. Well, they've got grease gun supplies. They got the Lincoln cordless grease guns. Boy, we could have a fun. Remember, never mind, I won't get into that. With all the grease to go with it. And then, of course, they've got all the window wash for the trucks, and they can clean your air filters and save you a bunch. That's a lot. A bunch of money on air filters. And they also got the Bubba ropes. They got all the Bubba ropes for harvest to get you out of the deep mess that you got yourself into. They'll pull you out with the Bubba rope. Travel Loop Supply, Hayburn, 438-8730. You call them today. Hey, don't forget, right now it's time for the Capital Press Ag Minute, brought to you by Pacific Steel and Recycling. Really nice people at 320 West Main in Burley, 678-2321. Here's the Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly.
A string of heavy, isolated storms brought timely moisture to farmers and ranchers throughout southern Idaho amid an otherwise dry summer. An unusual prolonged pattern of tropical moisture originated from the Gulf of California caused the wet spell, explained the National Weather Service meteorologist Dan Vail. The rainfall has extended the irrigation season in some areas, while dryland growers in the east say the extra moisture will help fall crops germinate. Ranchers say the rains have promoted new growth in grasses and moistened existing forage, making it more palatable. That will forestall the feeding of hay. With the Capital Press Ag Minute, this is Hannah Brous.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West's Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and capitalpress.com.
Hey, don't forget Pacific Steel and Recycling. They offer a wide variety of bins and dumpsters, and if that's not enough, they have the right equipment and trained employees to help you load and haul your scrap metal away for you. And you know what they charge? Nothing. Nothing. It's free. These are great people. I'm telling you, Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main and Burley, 678-2321. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
My friend.
I want to wish old George a happy birthday, you turkey.
Old George. Old George. Emphasis on old George.
That's all right. He's a good guy. Where's that lunch bunch going to be? Where we had our cake social that time?
I believe so, but believe me, I will have it marked. I'll have a yellow brick road so everyone can find it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be... And by the way, I heard rumors that there's going to be a special birthday for somebody.
I don't know who.
You sound like an old bullfrog stuck in the mud.
Oh, that's all right. But, this old stuff... with Russia and that, it's been coming on since way back in my days, buddy boy.
Well, believe me, after people have seen what can happen with Russia, fortunately they backed down and they blinked with Khrushchev and the missile crisis in Cuba. Al, it's not even funny. It's so serious about, maybe somebody should give the chemical weapons to a member of the international community. And then Putin says, I'll take them.
Yeah, sure.
I could not believe how dumb our State Department and our leadership is. I'll take them. Putin is playing these people like a puppet.
Well, we had a chance to keep Kerry and old Hagel out of there, but... we've got a Congress and the Senate that don't know where in the hell their butt is except they're sitting on it. They don't even know if that's the right place or not.
Would you please tell me, and I want you to be sincere about this now, give me at least one qualification that Chuck Hagel has to be the Secretary of Defense. Go ahead, you have the floor.
He's a good sleeper.
That's I heard Polly giggling.
That's the only damn thing he's good for. Sit there asleep in his chair like he was in Congress.
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm just really getting discouraged with this mess that we call Washington, D.C. right now.
Okay. Why don't the House and the Senate do something about it? Recall them. Get rid of them. But no, nobody wants to push them.
Well, okay, Al, but we need a house cleaning thoroughly in the Senate, the Congress, and I'm talking both sides of the aisle.
You ain't kidding.
And
I'd like to say one thing. Dennis Rodman, get your butt over there in Korea, and you keep it there and keep your damn nose out of our business over here.
You know, it's a scary thing to think that Dennis Rodman gets the ink and the newspaper coverage, the radio coverage, and the TV coverage. There stands a 6'9" guy next to a 5'7" fat man, and with a ring in his lip and a bone through his nose, and he is dictating world policy. You tell me that the world's not going to hell.
It's already on its way there, and we're just help pushing it.
Okay, Al, God bless you, man. Thanks.
Have a good one.
All right, buddy, thanks.
Bye.
Tomorrow, and I'm very serious when I say this, tomorrow is a Remembrance Day of 9/11. At least take the time tomorrow when you get up. Maybe get up a few minutes early. Maybe go out and sit in your easy chair, your comfortable chair. Leave the TV off. Maybe even leave the lights off in the living room. And just sit there and think about 9/11. Sit there and think about the devastation. Sit there and think about the horrendous attack on the Twin Towers. Sit there and think about the thousands and thousands of lives that were lost. Innocent people going to work, dropping their kids off at daycare. Innocent people, firemen, police that just absolutely, instead of running away from the building's possible collapse, ran into it to try to save others. Sit there and remember that. And I urge you to be very watchful and vigilant. There are those in our community, and yes, they're here, that want us to sing Kumbaya and join hands and just everybody just love each other. I can't be that way. I don't want to be that way. I'm very distrusting I am not a person that is going to forgive and forget easily, because these people, these sinister people, are still out there trying to kill us. There are a lot of unanswered questions that happened on 9/11. There are a lot of unanswered questions that have happened at Camp Bastion with 2 Marines dying. There's a lot of unanswered questions about Benghazi with the ambassador and others dying. There's a lot of unanswered questions as to why people have not been brought to justice. There's a lot of unanswered questions. And tomorrow, hold on, caller, just be patient just for a moment, please. I want to finish my thought on this. Tomorrow, there's going to be a big Muslim march in Washington, D.C. A pity party for them. They're having a pity party saying that they're being picked on. They're being picked on. Oh, woe is them. But I'm going to tell you something else that's going on tomorrow that I think is going to make the hair stand up on the back of your neck with pride. And I'll get to that in just a moment. Gina's aware of it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, when half of the nation is on some form of welfare, whether it be food stamps or disability or whatever, and the Democrats advocate this every single day of the world, how are we going to get someone in there that's going to shake things up?
Well, instead of shaking things up, they need to shut things down.
Well, I agree with you there, but that's when your riots are going to begin.
Yeah, well, wait a minute, Keith. You and I are getting a little long in the tooth and long in the earlobes and gray on top. And so let's just be real honest. You know, Keith, maybe it's time to not worry about offending somebody. Maybe it's time to not worry about what so-and-so is going to do or what ramifications it's going to cause. Maybe it's time to get back to common sense and the devil be damned and do things the way they should be done. What's right is right, wrong is wrong, and let's not confuse the two by combining them.
Well, I'm with you there. You know, there's only one way to do this, and that's the right way. And the right way is to always be honest in all your dealings at any time and to pay your fair share.
Okay, but then it's also to be a contributing factor to society. I am sick and tired, and I know there are people out there right now that are going to go, oh, he's picking on me. He doesn't like anybody that has welfare. And I didn't say that. But you, Keith, know as well as I do that there are leeches in every community in this United States of America. Leeches that sit on the couch. Leeches that eat bonbons and watch Oprah and pick up their cell phone and play games on it at our expense. Leeches that have no business being on the community and the public dole. Leeches that absolutely need to be discerned who they are and thrown out into the system. You either work or you starve to death, Jack. That's it. You know that's true.
That's true. Have you ever been in the grocery store waiting in line, and it just doesn't move and it doesn't move? In the end, you find out it was someone who was on food stamps, and they had to verify whether it was, you know, the cashier had to verify whether that was something they could buy on them or not.
Oh, I'll tell you one better than that. I was standing in the grocery line a couple of years ago with my lovely wife at Christmas time. And I had just got done riding some horses, and I was dirty, and I looked like a real old cowboy that had been dragged through the desert, and Deanna had come just from work. We're standing in the grocery line. A couple of ahead of us, he had on a suit, a very nice-looking suit. She had on a very nice-looking dress, high heels, and they paid for all their purchases and food stamps, walked out the door and got in a brand new Mustang. Where is the equity and fairness in that, my dear friend?
There isn't, and I would be in favor of maybe having a checkout lane that just takes care of these poor people, you know, and caters to them, so it doesn't make it uncomfortable for the rest of us.
Well, I tell you what, I'm not against helping people. I think that you will be the first to say, Keith, that I've tried to do my best in the 17 years I've done this program to try to reach out and help others in a time of need. But there's a point when they have to start reaching up the ladder and pulling themselves up the rungs. They can't be expected to always be the leech and the gimme. You got to do things for yourself.
Well, that's exactly why I supported the Meals on Wheels program. Which
Absolutely.
I understand is in trouble now. Is that correct?
I'm not going to get into that this morning. I'm on another subject. We'll talk about that another time, okay?
Okay.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Caller, I'll be right with you. Stand by. Valley White Home and Ranch, great big Patriots Day, proud to be an American tomorrow. George Mass is going to be cooking burgers and hot dogs, and all the proceeds go to the Rupert POWMIA, and they're going to have a special deal on boots. All boots, buy one pair, get the other pair half off. Holy cow. 20% off on cinched jeans. Everything's going to be a ripping fun time, and for the first 150 people that spend in the store, they'll receive an American flag and a pocket knife. Oh, yeah, you better be there. Valley White Home and Ranch. Proud to be an American tomorrow at 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, the other day I was at Smith's, and I noticed there was a massive line waiting to go somewhere, and I guess I found out later that the welfare checks came in, and everybody was cashing them. And it was massive, this line. And I thought to myself, you know, are these people really suffering? Are they unable to work? Were they legal? Were they illegal? You know, you just wanted to start walking down the line and just finding, not be rude, not be anything, just find out what the story was. Of course, it's none of my business. But you see, in essence, it's all my business because it's our money.
There you go. Stop right there. You know, they come up with this political correctness junk and garbage. Oh, well, you can't question these people. Why, that would be unethical. You can't do that. But wait a minute. Randy's money, my money, Gina's money, other people's money is going to help support them. I want to know if they're a drug addict. I want to know if they're a leech on society. I want to know if they're so doggone lazy they won't go out and get a job. I want to know if they're really disabled. Why not? It's my money.
Well, it's just like disability when they're not disabled and they're pulling disability and you know, you heard the story about the beach bum down in California.
Oh, I saw the story, and honestly, it almost cost me a television because I took off one of my Justin boots and almost threw it right at the screen.
Well, this is the thing. The other day I was in a hurry. I kind of parked where I shouldn't have, and I had somebody question me about it. And I noticed he was had a lot of time on his hands. I walked out after I went, and I said, I'll be right back. I'll be out of here. And I walked out and I asked him, he was questioning what I had done. So I asked him, I says, are you on welfare? I mean, it doesn't look to me like you have a job or anything. You just seem to be kind of lollygagging. And I never did get a straight answer at it.
Yeah.
You see? I don't know. We don't want to, I just, you know, in order to get this thing squared away, we're going to have to actually get some cojones and do something.
Well, it's got to start in a local basis. It's got to start with guys like you and me and Gina and everybody else. It's got to start on a local basis. We got to start making demands. We got to tell the people that are elected officials, this is what we want, not what you want to do. This is the constituents' voice. You work for us, get it done, Jack. And then take it on to the state level and then on the national level. I am sick and tired of being kowtowed and told what to do by politicians. Tell me what to do? Are you kidding? We pay them. They're our employees. I've said this 1,000 times. I'm not going to be told what to do by them.
No, and that's exactly right. And I hope the lady was right that nobody had showed up to the Simpson rally and get Brian Smith back on the program and let's get him elected. And I'm going to tell you, if you want to wake up the politicians in Idaho, have Simpson get beat.
Yeah. I think there needs to be an alarm clock put in every politician's bedroom that says, oh, you might lose, oh, you might lose, oh, you might lose, and let that thing go on a snooze alarm for a while. Randy, thanks, buddy.
Bye.
All right, take care. Weather update right now, and then I want to get into a story that Gina's been waiting for, and I appreciate that. I want to talk to you in a minute about that, but right now it's time for a weather update with MichaelRogersWeather.com, brought to you by my favorite store, Sportsman's Warehouse. I just go in there and I kind of drool and dream and say, I want that. They've got everything in there, all the friendly experts, quality gear, down-home attitude, and don't forget, they've got a select clearance right now on clothing and footwear, 50% off till September 15th. Better get in there. The great indoors for those who love the great outdoors. Sportsman's Warehouse in Twin Falls. Here's Michael Rogers Weather.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Welcome to Tuesday. Sunny, clouds, 83 for the high, 57 for the overnight low. I'm not going to root out a slight chance of a thunderstorm because it's still summertime. I don't think it's going to happen today. I know tomorrow it's going to happen, but otherwise, if it does happen, please do not be surprised. It's still summertime weather, even though we are officially into fall. Otherwise, have yourself a great day. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you've got.
Thank you, Michael. Brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Really a great store. Gina, are you right there by the microphone?
I am, and this whole Mike Simpson thing, everybody wanting to know, it's like that story disappeared.
Yeah.
That event disappeared.
Yeah.
I don't even think it happened. They pulled it off of his docket. I can find how he had lunch with John Boehner in Boise, but there's no listing for the Burley event, and I don't.
It's really funny in a way that it just is one of those stories that was puff. It's gone. The magic dragon.
It's like his hometown constituency doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah, and I said yesterday, and I took a little heat on my cell phone, but that's okay. By the way, that number, if you want to call me, is 312-2976, that I'm picking on Mike Simpson. And you know what? I'll say this publicly. Yeah, maybe I am. Maybe the point is that Mike was on our program periodically, but like I stated, and I mean this, some people don't agree with my stance. I will not chase parked cars. In other words, I am not going to run down politicians or anyone to come on my program and tout what they're doing for the general public when in essence they are our employees. They should be calling us. They should be calling Gina at the radio station saying, I just passed this legislation, can I get it on your program? Zeb, I'd like to get on your show and talk about this issue. Why do we have to chase them down? Why do we always have to roll out the red carpet? Why do we always have to act like we're in awe when in essence they're begging, pandering, and really going after our vote to work for us?
Amen. I was sitting there looking at his website and, donate here, get involved, do this.
Yeah.
Sorry, man, I ain't donating to you.
There
You're
go.
not going to serve your local constituency. Kick rocks. I'll vote for somebody else.
Hey, have you got some Harley sounds over there? Oh, crank that up. I mean, make it loud. Crank up those Harley bikes. I love a Harley bike. That's it. Now go ahead. Give us a vroom vroom. Oh, yeah.
Got so much, dear.
I know, but you know what? Right there, just keep that going because you and I talked about it this morning, and there is possibly going to be a 2 million biker parade in Washington, D.C. Now, I know you love bikes.
I do.
And Deanna loves bikes. And I want to get a Harley tricycle so bad that I'm just itching. I'm itching. And here's what's going to happen. I mentioned earlier this morning they're going to have a big pity party for the Muslims in Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. And they applied for a parade permit, and they got it. Oh, yeah, they got it. But at the same time, the American bikers applied for a parade permit, and Gina, something happened, and red tape prevailed, and they couldn't get one.
What?
Yeah. Isn't it interesting? So you know what the bikers are going to do? They're going to do something that all Americans should do. They're going to go ahead and have their parade anyway. And you know what? I pity the man in blue that's going to stand in an intersection blowing a whistle at 2 million bikers going, get out of the way, man.
I just found that story. I'll post it up on your Facebook page.
Yeah, please do. But they're going to have the American flags on the back of their Harleys. They're proud to be Americans. They're proud to represent the greatest country. They don't want pity parties for anybody. They want America to stand alone and be tough. enough, like John Wayne said many, many times. I'll tell you what, I am a fan of the bikers. You go to Washington, D.C. You rev those engines up. You absolutely are Americans, and I love you for it. There. I feel better now.
Do you feel better now?
I got it off my chest.
Yeah?
It was like that commercial on TV when the elephant's sitting on the guy.
Yes, I do know the one.
Okay. I do feel better. Calls would make me feel better right now. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Stuart Varney said something that scared me this morning. I mean, it really, really scared me this morning. And he's an economist and business editor. And he said this morning, as he looked at the TV camera, quite frankly, chaos. This is the word that he used. Chaos is coming with Obamacare. And tomorrow on my program, I have Idaho Senator Dean Cameron, a man that I very, very much respect for his ability, his knowledge, and getting the point across. And we're going to be talking about Obamacare, the implementation of Obamacare, what's happening with the exchange, the insurance exchanges. We're going to get right to the crux of everything tomorrow on that segment at 10:30 tomorrow morning. So I'm telling you, when Stuart Varney and others that I have a lot of respect for, and I've read a lot of their work and their knowledge on the economy, when they say that chaos is coming with Obamacare, it gets your attention, let me tell you. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What do you think? Is the vote going to be necessary for Obama to stand there and say we're going to bomb Syria? He doesn't have the votes. He does not have the populist vote. He does not have the congressional vote. He doesn't have the Senate vote right now. And tonight he's going to be pandering. He's going to be on at prime time tonight, really destroying your evening at home. And he's going to be on at approximately 7 p.m. our time, 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. And he's going to be staring at the teleprompter and asking you to change your mind about going into another war. Another war. Another conflagration. Another involvement of United States. Oh, sure, he's going to tell you that it's going to be a surgical strike where they are going to preordain the targets, and they already have known in Syria where they will be. They've moved everything of importance out of the way. And he will tell you that it's going to be a slap on the knuckles of Assad so that he's a good boy and conforms to what the world wants him to do. And if you can believe that, I've got a bridge between Kansas and Nebraska that I want to sell you. This is going to be really serious. And I wonder how many people are going to be smitten by watching and listening to what the president says. How many people are going to go from, I'm never going to change my mind on this, to tomorrow saying, oh, I'll vote for it. Yeah, let's put more of our American boys and girls in harm's way in a quicksand situation like Syria. I wonder. Personally, I think it's going to do more harm than good for the president. Personally, I think that there is a door open, a crack, to allow Assad to get out of this mess in Syria and possibly give or alert Russia where the chemical weapons are and say, okay, here's the key to the vault that is storing 1,000 tons of bad stuff. I think there is a crack in the door right now to get Obama out of this mess and make him save face somewhat and not go to war. But will the man use it? Will this man, who is so egotistical, so ego-centered, and with an ideology that is absolutely against our Constitution, will the man do it? I hear the microphone open, and I hear someone breathing.
Yes, honestly, I think that he will. I think that he'll back out of it. He does not have the support of the American people. Nobody supports this. I mean, over 80% of the people do not want any sort of interaction with Syria, period. And I think he's going to listen, and I think that he's going to back off of this. And I don't think that we're going to go to Syria. I honestly, and this will be him saving face, because he knows that if he moves and if he's aggressive towards Syria without the backing of the American people, there will be revolt inside our own borders.
Well, and look at the left, all the way from extreme far left, comedic talent, question mark, Bill Maher, all the way to MoveOn.org. Look at all the left that is coming out against Obama and his policy of war and going in and acting as the neighborhood punk. Right. I just don't think that it's there, and I think this is a door opener right now for Obama to save face. I've got to do a quick commercial, and then if we have a call, I'll take it quickly. Great big tire sale at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I'm talking big tire sale. When I say tire sale, I'm talking big tire sale. They've got all the great passenger tires on sale right now, like the passenger car Ultra Z900. Oh, my goodness, a 30-day ride guarantee starting at just $109.67. And they got the light truck and SUV Wildcat AT2 on sale for just $117.15. Smooth, quiet riding. You better check it out, along with all the brake service, front end alignments, batteries, everything. Service is supreme. The best to you. From Dave on Blue Lakes in Twin Falls, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Lane and Rupert, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy old Randy on Overland and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I've got 1 minute, real fast.
There's no phone call.
Oh, I thought I heard, whoa, you mean to tell me I'm starting to hear moos?
Yep.
I'd have bet $100 I heard this.
That was the sickest moo of a cow I have ever heard.
Well, the little box that it's in, it got hit. It got stepped on. And so that cow is in definite need of surgery.
No, you're hearing things, mister.
Hey, thanks, Gina, for everything. We're going to take a break for 6 minutes and come back with the birthday boy, George Mass, and then also Joel Heward next half hour. I'll be back in 6. Hey, let the music play for a minute. I'm not done eating my banana bread. Okay, I'm ready. Welcome back, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, along with some of our great advertisers, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always the Georgia Soul. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
You know, whether it's the porta potties with the standalone hand wash restrooms, whatever it might be, they can serve you and get on the route service. Get rid of your garbage. It's gone. They've got a wonderful, very reliable route service, and I've been on it for a long time. I can guarantee you really great drivers. 734-6969. Always at your disposal. Western Waste Services. You contact them today. Gina, you right there by the microphone?
I was kind of painting the barn, but...
Well, you don't worry about your painting the barn. I had a great big piece of fresh banana bread. With the steam was coming off the bread. I mean...
With like nice, soft, melted butter.
Do I lie to you? It was fantabulous. And you have to set priorities in life.
Yes.
Now, when the theme song was playing to come back on the air, that was not a priority in life.
No, apparently not. The banana bread was. And I'm jealous because All I had was some yogurt and granola, and I have a banana sitting behind me.
Well,
not banana bread, just a banana.
Peel that, dude, and throw that cover in the trash and think about all the goodies that I just had.
So not even.
Oh, we're going to have Birthday Boy on the audience, on the air with us in just a minute. Hey, don't forget, I want to remind everybody, too, that when you think about life insurance, think about Cameron and Siemens. When you think about health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, think about the guys that can help you. You kind of sit there and put your hand under your chin for a minute and say, I wonder if I should call Dean Cameron and Todd Siemens. The answer is yes. They can help you at 436-4424. 436-4424. And Dean's going to be on the program with us on Thursday at 10:30. And these folks can really help you about protecting you and your family and your business. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Well, happy birthday, you old goat. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good. You're on a diet. You need to stay on it and save the bread for me.
You're on a diet. You ought to stay off the bread. Well, listen, let me tell you something there, birthday boy. This is delicious banana bread. Deanne makes zucchini bread and zucchini muffins and banana bread that are to die for. And let me tell you, you aren't getting any of it. Not on your birthday or any other time.
Well, I'll just come out and visit because your wife will give me some. I know she will.
I know that. She's always got a loaf of bread to give you and Donna. Anyway, George, caller, we're going to be right with you in a minute, but stand by. But, George, we got big things coming up tomorrow. Tell us about them.
We've got a very busy day tomorrow. We'll be over at Ramsey's cooking breakfast from 7 to 9:30. We'll have biscuits and gravy, coffee, milk, orange juice. And the proceeds go to Youth for Liberty and Zeb's Christmas for Kids.
That's right, and two great organizations, Zeb at the Ranch Christmas for Kids and the Youth for Liberty. And you're going to be cooking over there starting at 7 in the morning. Everybody going to work, just stop right there in front of Ramsey's and they can get breakfast.
Yep, 7 to 9:30. We'll be... have the bells on, we'll be lit up and serving people. So
yeah, but
and get a good breakfast.
For $3, I mean, come on, George. That's delicious eating for $3.
You darn well get your money's worth.
I know, with you cooking, I'll guarantee it. Then you're going to pack up, you're going to run out of there, and you're going someplace else to cook.
Yeah, I got to be with Valley White and set up and ready to cook burgers from 11 to 3, I believe it is. He's doing a big sale over there, and the proceeds off that goes to the Rupert POW committee. So. Oh, my goodness sakes. You're just Chef Boyardee on the fly. Yeah, well, and I can plug Valley White just a little bit. They have been so supportive of me and the different ventures I go on, and they're wonderful people to work with. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen this cook trailer on wheels, I mean, this dude's the size of a 36-wheeler, and how many grills have you got in there? You can put like 175 hamburgers on at the same time? 120 burgers at a time. Oh, don't minimize it. Just say, yeah, Zeb, that's right. Well, those falls down the bottom, yeah, we can count those. Okay. No, it's going to be great, and you're going to open shop over there tomorrow and throw the doors open and say, come and get it. At what time? It's been a pleasure working with Ramsey's and Valley White. Both of them, it's just wonderful people to work with. Oh, it is. And, you know, Patriots Day, George, it's a big day tomorrow, but there's a lot of solemn and remembrances that we need to remember. Yep, you can recognize it. You know, it's awful, for me, it's awful hard to go out and just really have fun. You know, it's just on days like that, and POW Day and all that, it's we got to keep track of what we're doing and what we're representing and what we're trying to achieve. Well, and I really commend you. And let me just give you a little plug here quick, if I may. Zeb at the Ranch Christmas for Kids, we're always trying to gather money up to help those in need at Christmas time. But also, an organization that you helped form was the Youth for Liberty. Give us a real quick synopsis of what it is and what you hope to achieve. Youth for Liberty, excuse me, we take young boys and girls, and we got an organization, and we give them flag etiquette, patriotism. It has absolutely zero to do with military grooming. That will not happen, but it's just, we're looking for kids. We've last year we had a pilot program out of Declan American Legion sponsored it. So we're going to branch out this year. Jerry and Vicky Fikes is taking Rupert. Jim Hartwell and Glenn Wilkinson's taking Declo. And I'm taking Oakley, and we're still looking for somebody to do Haber, Paul, and Burley.
Okay. Well, I want to tell you, at the Best of the West breakfast last year, the Youth for Liberty presented our colors, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house, and I hope you'll consent to have them back this next spring when we do it again.
Will do. And Zeb, a little promotion here. After we did your Best Breakfast in the West, we got a call for a Bo Bergdahl rally up in Haley 3 days later, and there was 3,000 people and national news media. Our little boys posted colors and did the POW table ceremony. So
oh, man.
They're sharp. They're sharp.
Oh, man. George, I'm going to be seeing a lot of the birthday boy tomorrow. You better save us a piece of your birthday cake.
Donna never made one. She don't bake for me no more.
Why?
Because I eat it all.
You have turned into a Porky Pig with those odd-looking Bermuda shorts, I'll tell you that.
Well, now, yours ain't. Never mind, I won't go there.
All right, buddy. Hey, have a great day, and happy birthday to you, George.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you so much. There is a very, very nice man and very community-oriented. George Mass, I appreciate you. Hey, Burley Glass, 1029 Overland in Burley with our old buddy, Gentle Ben. Caller, I'll be right with you, I promise. If you got old, drafty windows and you're losing heat or you're letting the heat in, I mean, you better check it out. Call Gentle Ben and Burley Glass at, of course, 678-1459. And consider installing the vinyl windows that'll help increase energy efficiency. The atrium windows right there at Burley Glass with my buddy Gentle Ben at Burley Glass. You get a hold of them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Keith here.
Well, hello, Keith there.
I want to make sure that the people of the Mini-Cash area are welcome to breakfast tomorrow morning. And we are glad and excited to help support the youth organization and the Christmas for kids, and all of George Mass's efforts to make that available there at our shop tomorrow morning from 7 till 9:30. So everyone's welcome, and Gina, breakfast is on the house.
Well, I just told her I'd buy her breakfast first hour, but listen, on the house, it sounds like Ramsey's picking up the tab. Gina, run, don't walk, run over
Trust
there.
me, and I'll take two.
What that means is that she'll have to sit on the card table on the roof.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, you got it.
No.
Hey, by the way, real quick, Keith, I've been telling everybody many, many times during the day, big hats off to Farmers and Patriots Day celebration tomorrow, live remote right there at the store like we always do. I've lined up a bunch of people to come in and be interviewed. Even, here's a surprise for you. I've got United States Senator Mike Crapo calling in from Washington, D.C.
Very good. We're happy to have him. So please come and join us tomorrow morning for the celebration. We're glad to have Zeb there again this year. I don't know, this has been at least 8 or 10 years that we've done the live remote, and we enjoy it. Our customers enjoy it. It's a little bit of work for us, but we love to do it.
Oh, God bless you. One of my dearest friends. Keith Ramsey, have a great day. Thank you, sir.
Thank you again.
You betcha. Thank you. Nice people. I look forward to that. Hey, by the way, I want to remind you, too, for all your furniture. You're sitting there scratching your head saying, gee, I need a new bedroom set, or I need a new living room set, or I need a new recliner to watch all the NFL games. Well, I've got the answer for you. It's all over at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness, they had such a tremendous Labor Day sale. They're kind of continuing all the value of that sale, and you can stop in and check out all the great buys. And don't forget all the floor coverings. Don't forget all the carpet, rolls and rolls and rolls of carpet, and nice people, knowledgeable people. At Lee's Furniture, Floors and More, 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and please see them today. Really good folks. Let's see, what else have I got to remind you of real quick. Let me check over with Gina, because this has been like a bird flying in circles this morning. Do we have our dear friend Joel Heward on the line?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, that'll give you an opportunity to reach over here and pick up one of my little notes. There is going to be a great big team roping tomorrow night at the Jerome County Fairgrounds, and my old friend, He's quite a bit younger than I am, so I can't emphasize old. Dave Zanino's putting it on again. It's going to be a 3 for $20 draw pot tomorrow night, Jerome County Fairgrounds. Enter by 6:30, rope at 7. And that's tomorrow evening, Jerome County Fairgrounds. Also, don't forget Let's Ride. Oh my, that is where the fun is sold. I kid you not. They ought to have a big sign out there that says, hey, turn in here. This is where the fun is sold. Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Oh my goodness. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from 9 to 6, and they've got all the 2014 bikes coming in every day. I mean, every day they're opening up the back door and saying, come on, bring them in. Well, I'll tell you what, they've got even the Can-Am 4-seater side-by-side. And the new Yamaha Viking side-by-side. Holy smokes, you better get in and check it out. And the great service department, oh my goodness, it is true. That is where the fun is sold. Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. You stop over and see them today. Almost choked to death. That banana bread was so good, and it had all the walnuts and everything in it. Oh, I had to hurry. To get it down in 4 minutes during the news. Just personal problem. Anyway, let's now get on the air and talk to a very, very nice individual. I enjoy this young man because he's so personable. Joel Heward, owner-manager of Hanson Mortuary over in Rupert. Good morning, Joel. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. Doing great.
Well, you deserve it, my friend.
I'm a little short of some banana bread, it sounds like.
Well, all you have to do is jump in your car and head to the west and stop into the old rancho, and we'll give you some banana bread.
I have a problem getting that down slowly myself.
Oh, I like to savor every bite. Joel, a lot of people, and we've said this time and time again on this program, they don't want to talk about death, they don't want to talk about dying, they don't want to talk about leaving this God's great earth, but it's a fact of life, and we need to be prepared. What have we not talked about that we should cover? I mean, I mentioned to you on the telephone the other day the choosing of caskets. Now, a lot of people go, oh, I don't want to talk about that, but you got to. You got to realize that it's a fact of life. Do people come by and select caskets?
Oh, that's something they do all the time with the little groups and, different tours that we may do for church groups and things like that. People just getting some information. That's a lot of times, even if they aren't in favor of burial, they prefer cremation. They still look at the caskets and pick the ones that they like just because they are, generally they're pretty. They have a lot of eye appeal.
Now, is there a wide variance of caskets? I mean, quality-wise?
Not a huge variance. There's different different materials that they're made out of more than anything, and that can determine the cost of those. But mainly, it's the material they're constructed of. So that determines what they're made of. You got everything from bronze and copper and to steel, and then just about any kind of wood you can think of.
Now, can people, I know this might sound trite, but I think it's true, can people personalize these and maybe have something special put on them?
No, you bet. We've had a lot of neat things over the years, and one recently had a neat family, good friends of the community here. The family came down and they all took turn with the family brands and branded this wooden casket with the family brands, and it's just a fun experience.
Now, this all ties into we need to be prepared. We need to make sure that we've got our ducks in a row, so to speak, and pre-planning of funerals. Is this something that a lot of people are taking advantage of, or do people not want to talk about it?
Well, you get some of both people, but there are a large amount of people that do, and I think as a funeral industry here in Mini-Cassia and here at Hanson Mortuary, we have a big, long tradition of trying to bring this to people's attention and be of assistance to help them, and just even if it's just talking with us and we get an idea of what they want when that time comes. Anything's better than nothing. If they want to come in and just write their information down, that helps the family immensely to have the personal information about the individual on file, just so that somebody doesn't have to go look it up at the time if they don't know it. a lot of that information we use to fill out a death certificate, and
yeah,
we try to make it pretty simple, and that's the main thing. If they come in, is keep it simple for them and easy and low stress, and anything they do ahead of time facilitates that.
I can't imagine not doing something beforehand. And I'll tell you what, I have lost both my mother and my father and other family members, and for the 3 days, those 3 days are the most tumultuous 3 days in any person's life. And to try to put everything together in perspective and have a funeral that honors that person's life without any preparation, I don't know how some people do it.
It can be extremely difficult, especially when it's unexpected. Even my own mother, when she passed a few years ago, I'd been a funeral director for, several years at that point, and I've learned from some great people in this industry. I mean, in my opinion, some of the best as far as personality and dealing with people. And that experience of taking care of my own mother taught me a lot. I mean, it was the first time, I think, in my life that I can pinpoint that I felt the physical effects of stress on myself.
Yep.
And I was a funeral director.
Yeah.
And I helped some of the, the outer arrangements, for my mother's funeral, of course, and things like that. But it was, the stress is just beyond what you can think of, when you're not dealing with it. And that's what we're here for, to make it simple for you, help you walk through that the best we can. We think we do that here at Hanson Mortuary in a unique fashion because my family, my little family, the general manager, he's about 3 foot tall here. We're here around the clock most of the time.
Absolutely.
That's something we offer that we love to be able to do. We to go to people's homes if we need to, if they need to come in at different hours with different schedules as family arrives. We make ourselves available here at Hanson Mortuary for that. And
yeah. Now, another thing, too, that I would imagine a lot of people don't realize how stressful it can be is the writing of the actual obituary. That in a time frame, to sit down and try to paraphrase everything that person's done in a lifetime, that's a little tough when you're under the gun, isn't it?
Yes. Under the gun is it's an understatement. It's there's always a deadline with an obituary because we want to have these services in a timely manner in most cases for people, and and that having that information on hand helps.
Yeah.
People that do that have some very beautiful written obituaries, life sketches, and I love it because I know where my weak points are, and that might be one of them.
But
writing those types of things, but I love to read a neat one or one that's just written uniquely. It's always great.
Yeah. And basically you have to be, and I hope you're not offended by this analogy, but you've got to be literally the play caller and the quarterback of all these situations to make sure everything gets done.
That's what we do. We're here to facilitate all the arrangements. It's one of my predecessors here, he always said it's like planning a wedding in about 3 days. You got all the same aspects. Dinner arrangements and announcements and clergy, that you're arranging with, and locations for service, and just all those logistical details. And we try to oversee those, and hopefully they all go well. And hopefully, after people proofread obituaries and announcements, they're still correct the next day. And that's what we try. We pride ourselves on that, I think, as funeral directors. Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very nice man. Joel Heward, owner-manager of Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, 436-5636. Joel, thank you, and you always keep wearing that great big smile. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you.
Seems to be stuck with me.
That's a great trademark to have. God bless you, Joel. Thanks much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. That is a very nice man right there. I enjoy visiting with him, and I guarantee you, I just love to watch people smile, and he's smiling all the time. Joel Heward, Hanson Mortuary. Don't forget, a few minutes ago, Keith Ramsey called and said, yes, they're going to have a great big Patriot breakfast right out in front of Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue tomorrow morning. Yes, we're going to be over there for a great big remote broadcast from 8 to 11. Yes, we're in tribute to the farmers and also to 9/11 on Patriots Day. Oh, we've got some great people. We're going to have door prizes. It is going to be a ripping big good day tomorrow at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Don't forget to come down, have breakfast with us at 7 o'clock right there in the parking lot, and the net proceeds of the breakfast go to the Zeb at the Ranch, 3rd annual Christmas for Kids, and the Youth for Liberty. And we're looking forward to a great remote broadcast with our friends over at Ramsey Heating and Electric on Overland in Burley. And then, like we told you, after that's all over, everybody's heading on over. Head them up, move them out. Go to Valley White Home and Ranch. At 910 South Oneida in Rupert. They're also celebrating Patriots Day, proud to be an American, and they're going to have all kinds of in-store specials, sales that'll just knock your socks off. They're going to have 15% off on pet carriers and 10% off on all the fishing equipment, and all the boots, buy one pair, get one pair half off. Holy buckets. Yep, George is going to be cooking there, too. Hamburgers and hot dogs, a whole ball of wax, and all the proceeds go to the Rupert POW MIA. Valley-wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Going to be a great big day tomorrow. Woo! We are going to be busy. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. We're about ready to go to the phone lines again. And we're going to have a very, very dear friend on. And normally he's on Wednesdays. We got kind of a fixture of having him on Wednesdays, but we're going to have him on Tuesday because tomorrow we're going to be over at Ramsey Heating and Electric for our great big remote broadcast, and I can't get him on the air, so we're going to have Doug Johnson on in just a moment. Stand by. Don't forget to A Child's World, 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley. Hello, Linda. Oh, my goodness, and she and Child's World are a proud sponsor of Cassia County School Days. It's a segment we developed on Thursdays right here at Zeb at the Ranch, and they're adding a women's gift section as you come into the store, and they've got all the infant quality shoes and school uniforms, and they've got all the baby items. Holy cow, it's A Child's World, 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Good morning, Doug Johnson, Colorado. My dear friend, how are you?
I'm good, Zeb. How are you this morning?
I'm nervous.
You're nervous?
I am very, very nervous, Doug, because as you and I have talked about over the last couple of weeks, I am nervous and distrusting this morning as to what is going to happen on the presidential teleprompter tonight as Obama addresses the nation and tries to change the mind, if you will, of the American public that we should get into another quicksand situation in Syria. I am nervous.
Well, that's interesting. I am not. I was, but I'm not, because I don't think he's going to do what you just said. I think, Syria has now accepted the Russian weapons proposal to have the international community take control of their chemical weapons. This takes a huge factor, or plays a huge factor in how Obama handles this. And I think to save face, what he'll probably do is say, we're going to watch this carefully and we're going to hold him accountable, and still trying to look tough in his own mind, at least, and back off. This gives him a chance to back off since he can't get any support. In fact, I learned even yesterday Michelle Obama's even against intervention in Syria, and so he can't even sell his own wife on the deal. So I think he may, my personal view is I think he's going to take this as a chance to back out and just to talk about the importance of taking a stand for human rights, and that we will watch them closely, but if we need to, we may have to go forward. I think that's what he'll do.
Yeah, but. You always like sentences that start saying, yeah, but. Anyway, Doug Johnson, dear friend and writer of the Horse Sense blog, and of course, great book, No Tomorrows. I'm still nervous because you have not massaged my fears of having Russia be the puppeteer pulling the strings with chemical weapons out of Syria. Not going to work. You didn't make me feel better.
Well, first of all, I'm sure what Russia did. I'm sure Putin's people went to Assad and said, look,
we're going to make this offer, we'll pull them out. Your biological weapons are far more dangerous than your chemical weapons anyway. We're not talking about those, we're just talking about your chemical weapons. Plus, we've pledged to commit defense for you. So we will protect you in this case. We have to remember that behind the scenes, a lot of people aren't aware of this, that there is a big battle going on over Syria, not for the reasons people think. This is about oil and natural gas. There are pipelines they're trying to run through Syria. Russia wants them run through for their benefit, but the Iranians are on one side of this, and the Saudis are on the other side. And the Syrians have rejected the Saudi attempts to run natural gas and oil pipelines through their country, and they accepted the Iranians' proposal. And so my suspicion is this entire thing, because of the control the Saudis have within our own government, I think this whole thing comes down to pressure from them on Obama to get Assad out of power so they can get their oil lines running through Syria financially, and I think that's why they offered to pay the whole bill for the military strike if we do it. So that's, my theory is this goes, as always, to money and power, and that's what this is about.
Doug, my dear friend, that we've never had a chance to really meet and shake hands face to face or buy each other a steak dinner. Preferably you buy the first time, I'll buy the second time. But my dear friend, I'm going to give you a little analogy, and I'm going to kind of bare my chest, and you can tell me how wrong I am, okay? But what is the difference, my dear friend, when you think about this situation over in Syria, and you think about having in-country insurgents, in-country strife, and also somebody like the United States saying, stop it, stop acting like children, we're going to park some aircraft carriers and destroyers off your coast, and if you don't stop this civil war, we're going to bomb you. Now, here's the analogy I want you to study. What would be the difference if we in the United States had another Watts, California turmoil, or Chicago is on fire, or great big tumultuous activities in New York City, and we're fighting, there's looting, there's burning, there's killing in the streets, and all of a sudden somebody pulled up to the harbor in New York and parked a great big battleship and said, stop it, or we'll bomb you. Really, what is the difference there, Doug?
Well, I don't think there really is. I mean, I always question the validity of one nation sticking their nose in another nation's business. What is sad here is that the Syrian rebels are made up mostly of people from outside the country, many of whom we have trained, and they are affiliated with Al-Qaeda. This is what scares me about it. The big scare in this whole thing, and I'm surprised you haven't brought it up, I think you've kind of implied it, Zeb, is, and this is the unpredictable factor, is our president's ego. That is the scary point, because if he allows his ego to control the decision, then any speculation you or I might have goes out the window, because he's totally acting on emotion, and I think he's very capable of doing just that. That's the part that scares me.
I think right now, and again, I open myself up for scrutiny and criticism from you, but I think right now the right and the left, the MoveOn.orgs and the Bill Maher's and all the pundits are sitting there going, whoa, wait a minute. If this guy goes off prompter, he's a loaded gun that could shoot in the air anywhere. I think people are afraid on both sides of the aisle.
And I think you're right, and I think they have legitimate reason to feel that way. This is a man who clearly does not know how to handle these situations, and if he goes off prompter, to use your terminology, which is absolutely perfect terminology, I think we are in great danger. I am sure that whoever pulls his strings, whoever the puppet master is, because we know it's not him. We know he's not operating on his own thoughts. Usually he's being told what to do and what to say. I'm sure they're giving him a strong talk saying, you will follow the script very carefully. And there are great, I don't want to use the word threats, but let's say great pressure being put on him to do things the way whoever controls him wants it done.
Doug, there's another fear this morning, and people might go, ha, 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 that's a joke. But it is kind of serious, really. Another fear that is worth watching news-wise is Dennis Rodman and Kim Jong-un of North Korea. This is interesting, to say the least, how a 6'9" former Chicago Bulls basketball player with earrings and metallic jewelry stuck all over his body has become good friends with a little fat dictator that really has wanted to kill anybody and everybody that crosses North Korea. What about this relationship with Rodman and Kim Jong-un?
Well, I find it, and I have all along, find it highly questionable. Now, I'm going to be critical here of you, Zeb. I take issue with anybody who calls people names based on their appearance. Although Dennis Rodman has pretty well made his own appearance, but that's a different thing. But I feel like only the left cut people down for their appearance or make comments. So I avoid those things. So I just tell you, I take issue with that. However, going to the core of your issue that you raise, I guess I raise the question of why is Dennis Rodman allowed to freely travel to and from North Korea? I thought there were certain countries we did not, and we closed to our citizens to go to for many reasons, mostly national security. This man is a walking time bomb, if you ask me, and I think it's very dangerous. So I don't know why our government even allows him to go there.
Well, I'll take a kind of a verbal reprimand, but I will not back up. I think that Rodman has done some very foolish and frivolous things that have denigrated not only the sport of basketball, but also him as a person and as a humanitarian trying to help other people. He is not. He's only been involved in things that will benefit Dennis Rodman. And for him to act like right now he's replacing John Kerry as Secretary of State and demeaning the office of the presidency and demeaning the office of Secretary of State, pointing the finger at the camera and everything, I find that to be a demeaning situation.
Well, I think you're right, and I think what's even, I guess, scarier to me is that there is, and this relates to what you're saying, that this is all about personal interest. There was a lot of pressure or let's say requests being put to him about, as I understand, a Christian missionary over there who has been imprisoned by the North Koreans, and there has been a lot of pressure put on Rodman before he went to request that North Korea release him. Kim has the power to do that, and he got all upset at the last minute, and he said to the people requesting, why is that my responsibility? That's not my responsibility. And I thought, I have to say, Zeb, I thought to myself, actually, I think it's every human being's responsibility to stand for human rights and to stand against abuses of those rights. And so I think that shows a lot about who the person of Dennis Rodman is, because if he truly is friends with this guy like he says he is, he could easily make the request, and whether the guy would accept or not, I don't know, but at least he could make the request. But if he doesn't have a big enough heart to see a man who has been, put in a terrible situation, has been imprisoned for his faith, then there's something really wrong. And this goes back to my whole thing of why is this guy even allowed to go there?
Yeah. Now, there's another situation going on tomorrow on 911 that I want you to discuss here this morning, and it is in regards to the Muslim March in Washington, D.C. And putting it in my own verbiage, I find this to be nothing more than a pity party for the Muslims that feel they've been picked on and that they've been delegated to second-class status since 911. They feel like they're not trusted. The list goes on and on. The litany of woes that they've presented is almost sickening. And they applied for a parade permit, and they got it for the Muslim March. But then on the same juncture, the American bikers that wanted to have a parade in Washington, D.C., they were denied the permit, but they're going to go ahead anyway and wave the American flag proudly. And I stand behind the American bikers that are going to be proud to be Americans tomorrow.
Well, I think it's absolutely great they're going, and as far as the Million Muslim March, I doubt there will be a million there. It'll probably be like the another march years ago when another group tried to do the same thing and had a very small turnout. But I would say that I stand for the right of anybody to speak what they feel and think and believe in America. That's what freedom of speech is about. But I also say that we have an obligation, as citizens of this great country, we have an obligation to each other to respect a person's situation. And to me, this nation was harmed terribly on 9/11. And if I truly do care about America and about my fellow citizens who may not believe what I believe, and I'm a Muslim, then I would say I would not want to rub America's nose in what happened on 9/11. It's the wrong day to do that. If any other day of the year they want to do it, that's fine. I find it very, very offensive. And while I will stand with for their right to do it, I think it's really, really tasteless and a bad choice.
I do too.
And it raises to me, I guess, questions of their real intent and their real purpose.
You know, one of the issues that is in the news, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about it last week, and we've got just about 7 or 8 minutes left here, is Obamacare in general. And I have been a strong advocate that Obamacare is absolutely going to denigrate our healthcare system in this United States permanently, because of the devastating effects it's going to have on costs and the depletion of services and many medical professionals leaving the industry itself. But Obamacare, this morning there was a very short statement made by Stuart Varney, economist and business editor, that I found to be very interesting, and he said, quote, "Chaos is coming with Obamacare. And everywhere I look, there is negativity about Obamacare and the implementation. Everybody I talk to, Doug, they're scared about what's going to happen with the taxation and all the underlying and hidden meetings as to what it's going to do and how it's going to be implemented. It's a scary thing going on right now."
It's a very scary thing. Obamacare represents the worst that could happen to America, and it will be devastating to many, many businesses who don't even realize it yet. There's an interesting report out through Fox this morning. Actually, I think it's a couple of days old. I didn't see it till this morning, about how many small business owners, sole proprietors, owners of business with just the one employee, just themselves, don't realize that there are requirements that go into effect in the next 30 days that if they don't meet them, they'll be paying $100 a day fine.
That's right.
And I don't think people even realize these things yet. This is a very scary thing, and I think the devastation that it's going to do to our economy is both still as yet not even realized by the American people, but also I think it's part of the plan of this administration to once again drag down our economy, make our people more dependent on the government, and try and change us over to a socialist Marxist system from the capitalist system that we are.
Let me ask you another question here this morning, because we're going to be doing a big segment on Obamacare Thursday morning, as a matter of fact, with one of our state senators, Dean Cameron. But now you in Colorado have got some problems too, and I've been following some of the news over there. And bring us up to speed. I talked to Michelle Malkin's office the other day, and what's going on with the gun control issues in the state of Colorado?
Well, I think, the real core issue right now, and it's actually happening today as we speak, there's in two districts in Colorado, one down in Pueblo and one in Colorado Springs, there are state representatives in our state legislature, one of which is the president of the Colorado Senate, is from Colorado Springs. And there is a movement up to recall them because they took a stand for legislation that restricts gun rights. And so extreme that when it was first introduced, the gun proposal, it actually was slightly modified, but the gun proposal actually would require that even if you had somebody house sitting your home and you own guns, you had to have a background check on them before they could be allowed to house sit your home. Now that part was repealed, but it did come through. There had to be background checks on anybody who's selling or being sold a gun by any individual, private or even a business. And so a recall effort has gone on. Right now, the vote today is whether or not there will be allowed to be a recall election. And Michael Bloomberg, the mayor of New York, who is now sarcastically called the Colorado's mayor, has poured huge amounts of money in here with some other wealthy Democrats to try and keep this from happening. They've spent 6 times the money that the people trying to bring the recall forward have been able to spend. And Bill Clinton has done a robocall. They're calling all over the state trying to get people to do this. And the election laws were changed in Colorado, and I hope I have enough time to say this because this is really important, Zeb. The election laws were changed. I just did a blog post at the Horse Sense blog if people want to understand it. And if this is coming to other parts of the country, I promise you, they took control of Colorado, they changed the election laws, and now that this faces this, the requirements to vote in these districts where this is happening today have changed so dramatically now that if you have lived in Colorado 22 days, no matter where you live in the state, you can come to the district where the election is, and if you can name an address within that district and you say, I'm going to plan to move to that address within this district, they will let you vote anyway.
That is dangerous.
So it's about how many people you can get there to vote listing an address. It's not about whether you live there or not. And so the chances of the recall going through, I think, are very minimal. Everybody's hoping. But this would be a huge thing if they could do it, because this would set mostly the gun control measures and some other measures regarding Colorado, but especially the gun control nationwide. This would affect everything nationwide depending on which way this goes. So today is an important day. If you're a praying person, please get on your knees and say a prayer for Colorado, because today is a very, very important day in Colorado.
What happened, though, and give me kind of a short synopsis of this, but what happened in the state of Colorado? I can remember going back and working the National Western in Denver in the wintertime and being around some very, very conservative people, agricultural people, people that loved their state, people that wanted progress in their state, and then all of a sudden I've noticed a change back there. From many of the people that I've talked to, they also are very afraid of the change. It's become very, very liberal and left, especially when you start talking about gun control issues and also the pot smoking issue. I mean, Colorado has changed.
Colorado has changed dramatically, and if people go to the horsesenseblog.com, I just posted a new post yesterday called Coming to Your State, where I talk about what happened in Colorado, and I link to an article that I can't explain in the time we have here, but was written by Fred Barnes at Weekly Standard a few years ago. There was an actual plan set forth by Democrats to take over Colorado. They succeeded, and now they are applying it to other states, and they have their eye on many states, but one of the big targets they're after, and they're starting to have some success down there, is Texas, and this surprises a lot of people, but I have friends and relatives there who tell me things are not as rosy as people think in Texas, and they're very scared of what's going to happen. If you really want to understand what's happening and how it happened here and how they're trying to now do this across the country in other states, please go to the horsesenseblog.com and read this newest post called Coming to Your State.
Can it be turned around, though? I mean, do you see any chance of a resurgence of conservatism and the Republican Party and better leadership, or is it not happening?
This recall election is a good step. The problem is the Democrats have developed a 7-point plan for takeover of a state, which they implemented here, and it worked. And they're willing to pour the time, money, and efforts into it. Republicans are not willing to spend that money and invest to do this. And so I think until the Republicans are willing to come up with a countermeasure to the Democrat plan, the Democrats will continue to succeed across the country.
Do you see this, real quickly, we have a call. I'll take the call and then we'll wrap it up. Go ahead, caller, real fast for Doug Johnson. Go ahead.
Yes, Doug. I mean, seriously, you've got useful idiots and apathetic morons, and when the useful idiots get what they think they want and there's nothing left, the utopian society they think that will be here, will they ever give it up and realize it? I mean, just how bad does it have to get before people realize either or? Thanks.
Yeah, Doug, is there a turning point where all of a sudden even the left will say, oh my goodness, we went way too far?
And let me say, I couldn't hear a word of the phone call, so I don't know what was said.
Oh, basically he was.
I don't know. Actually, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they are on a mission of self and national destruction, and they don't even realize where they're headed. And so, no, I don't think there is.
Okay, well, you know, we have to have hope and we have to have prayer, and we certainly hope that common sense will prevail and America can stand tall again on the basis of its Constitution, which is the best ever in the world. Doug, final thoughts. I'll let you wrap it up.
Well, let me say, I agree with you about hope, and while I don't believe that, and when you asked in the last question, I don't believe the left will come to their senses. That's the extreme left. That's the progressives. the average Democrat in America is still a good old-fashioned Democrat, a Kennedy kind of Democrat. Yeah, I think they can come to their senses, like all of us can come to our senses, and we need to reach out to those around us, no matter what their political persuasion is, and have them come together with us on the same core common American family values. And when we do that, I think we can then start to rise up, start to look past parties, start to rise up together to bring this country back to what it should be.
Absolutely. Doug Johnson with the Horse Sense blog and also author of No Tomorrows. Doug, thank you so much for agreeing to come on a day early than normally on Wednesdays. And I appreciate your patience and your diligence. Thanks much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Zeb. I enjoyed it. I'll talk to you soon.
You bet, buddy. Thank you very much. Doug Johnson in Colorado. Excellent guest and very knowledgeable about what's going on in politics. Oh, my goodness. It's time for the weather. And the weather is brought to you this hour by Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls with Ryan Horsley and the rest of the crew. Now, the people at Red's, they know all about guns, and they can help you with all your needs. And that, of course, handguns, the rifles, the shotguns, all the ammunition, all the accessories, everything. Red's Trading Post. You bet. Since 1936 in historic Old Town Twin Falls, Red's Trading Post. Here now is Michael Rogers with the weather.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Welcome to Tuesday. Sunny, clouds, 83 for the high, 57 for the overnight low. I'm not going to root out a slight chance of a thunderstorm because it's still summertime. I don't think it's going to happen today. I know tomorrow it's going to happen, but otherwise, if it does happen, please do not be surprised. It's still summertime weather, even though we are officially into fall. Otherwise, have yourself a great day. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you've got.
There you go. Thank you, Michael, and thanks also to Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls, for all your hunting needs at Red's Trading Post. Oh, my. Let's see. Where am I going next? I've got, what did I have to tell you? Gina's, are you over there by your microphone?
No, I ran.
You ran?
I ran.
Okay. Where did you run to?
Nowhere.
Oh. Hey, by the way, thanks to you, I didn't thank you yesterday, and I absolutely deserve a kick in the posterior because you were so diligent in lining up John McEwen, and I thank you for that interview yesterday. I thought it was very interesting.
And we do have some tickets to give away, too, you know.
Oh, we do? How do you... Okay, let's do it real easy, okay?
Well, we can do it tomorrow or at any point in time, so you decide how you want to do it, if you want to just do like a little trivia or whatever, but we have 5 pairs to give away.
Tell you what I'll do. Rather than tomorrow, because we'll be involved in that remote, we'll give away some tickets starting on Thursday. How's that?
You got it.
And that's going to be some... I bit my tongue. Hurts bad, too, I got to tell you. Did you ever do that when you're doing a newscast on television or something? Bite your tongue?
Mouth, which is drool. I mean, just it creates instant spit in your mouth.
Oh, yeah. And you're sitting there, and you're trying not to act like it hurt or anything, but your eyes crossed and your ears burn, and you go, this is how you sound when you try to talk after you bit your tongue. Amy, own.
Okay.
You're right. Do I have a call?
No.
I thought I heard that cow again.
See, you're hearing things.
Well, now, honestly, what is the matter? I did some veterinary work with my cow here in the studio. Tell me if it's all right.
That poor thing needs to just be put out to pasture.
I think it needs a distemper shot or something.
Or something.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
Let's see now. Tomorrow we're going to be over at Ramsey's.
Yes.
And you're coming over for breakfast.
Yes.
And Keith said he'd give you the best seat on the house.
On the house.
On the house, upstairs with a picnic table or whatever. Yes. Mm-hmm. And then you got to get to work.
Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact.
And then we're going to be on the air all morning tomorrow morning.
You bet. And so everybody needs to get on down to Ramsey's. George Mass is going to be there, so a birthday boy, so you can take all of your birthday presents today and deliver them to George.
Now, that's something. That's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that, but tomorrow, why don't we everybody go over to see George tomorrow and stop in and get him a little birthday present. You know, it's just something as a remembrance of him celebrating 175 years on this earth.
You can buy him some breakfast, Deb.
He's cooking.
I know.
Oh, okay. Chef Boyardee, George does a great job, but somebody ought to stop by and give him a little birthday present, maybe, something like maybe a free trip to Tahiti, him and Donna, so she can wear that bikini that she's been wearing to wear.
I'll ask the boss man if he's got a free trip to Tahiti that I can give away.
How'd your, I shouldn't ask you this on the air, but we're killing time for about a minute. Okay. How did your board meeting go the other day with the head honcho and everybody else?
Fine. Yeah, it went fine.
Your proposal was accepted?
Well, whether it was accepted, I gave it, and then I left, and nobody said anything.
So you gave your proposal, got mad, and left. You said, take this and leave it.
Actually, no, I didn't get mad. I controlled the temper, and then it went well, and that was that.
Do you, when you're giving a dissertation sometimes and you have had an agreement or a disagreement with somebody, do you have a tendency to want to slip in a snide little review?
Sometimes, but, always trying to be the classy one. I often have to bite my tongue until it bleeds.
See, now, I guess I've never reached that classy status. I just let her fly, babe.
I am trying, and so sometimes it's just best to bite thine tongue.
Yeah, but your temper has precluded a lot of things.
Yes, sometimes, and so it's if you know me well enough to know, I do have a temper. But then usually it's backed up by, me being apologetic and everything else. But I do have a...
but now here's the thing. Be honest. We both have tempers.
Yeah,
you and I both were forewarned that we are like two hand grenades with the pins pulled.
Yes. And we've done fine.
Yeah, well, we haven't done anything as far as lose our tempers with each other.
No.
Because you throw the grenade at me, babe, I'm going to pick it up and throw it back.
Exactly. It's foxhole time, hon. It's just, God, incoming.
Yeah, there you go. I'll be back in 6.
You got it.
Okay. Oh, we're back. Hour number 3, Zeb at the Ranch on I had to look, Tuesday, September 10th. And we'll, of course, honor again our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, as our major sponsor, all 7 locations. And then don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers that include Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call 734-6969. Don't forget the Chadwick Sports Grill. Man, that is good eating over at the Chadwick. Nice people. And today, their senior citizen dinner special, Monday through Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m., only $5.95, is beef stroganoff with garlic toast and soup or salad. You're going to love it. It's great food. At the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Oh, my. Way back in the woods, the deep woods, the dark woods of Rhinelander, Wisconsin, a place seldom ever visited by mankind, they found a small cabin in the woods. They knocked on the door, and coming up to the door was this little withered old hunchback man carrying a book and a quill pen, and they asked who he was, and he said, "I am Dr. History. Good morning, Dr. History."
You never cease to amaze me, Zeb.
Yeah, it's kind of like getting the flu, isn't it?
It is. That was a good one this morning. How you doing?
I am great, and it's time now for Dr. History, brought to you by the new CSI Sage Truck Driving School in Burley, 878-5802. With our dear friend Lucky Bourne, you can become a professional truck driver. And that brings you, of course, Dr. History.
Yes.
It's your turn.
Okay. You requested something last week.
I did, and I wanted to see if you remembered it and followed up on it.
I did, and I learned some things that kind of impressed me about this whole Battle of San Jacinto.
Whoa. Now, let me give you a little bit of what I know, and then tell me how close I am to actually what happened, okay?
Okay.
The Battle of San Jacinto was a battle in retribution for what happened at the Battle of the Alamo. And Sam Houston and the rest of the Texans, they really vented their anger on Santa Anna and his troops. And believe me, it wasn't much of a contest. And Santa Anna even turned into a coward and ran. And it showed really what kind of a person he was. Okay, go ahead.
Well, and there's more to the revenge part of that, and I'll get into that as well.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about a guy by the name of Antonio de Padua Maria Severino Lopez de Santa Anna y Perez de Lebron.
You should have been at his family reunion.
Commonly known as Santa Anna.
Okay.
Okay.
You did very well at that. You did very well.
So here we go.
Okay.
So Santa Anna, sometimes called the Napoleon of Mexico. Now, he was a Mexican dictator, general, 11-time president who actually greatly influenced early Mexican politics and government. He fought against Mexican independence from Spain, but then, I guess because he was here, he started to support independence from Spain. And he wasn't the first military leader of Mexico, but he was probably among one of the earliest. Now, he was a general. He was president multiple times over a pretty rough 40-year career. He was president on 11 non-consecutive occasions over a period of about 22 years. He was a wealthy landowner. He built a pretty good political base in the major port city of Veracruz. And he was the hero of the army. I mean, they really, the Mexican people really thought a lot of him. And I think he was a little bit egotistical. He really wanted glory for himself and for his army. But he pretty well dominated his era. And, in fact, historians call it the Age of Santa Anna.
Mm-hmm.
So, his military failures, although resulted in Mexico losing just over half its territory, and that began with the Texas Revolution and culminated in the what they call the Mexican Secession in 1848.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Santa Anna was born in Veracruz in 1794. He came from a pretty wealthy, respected Spanish colonial family. He and his family belonged to the kind of the upper class, higher class type people, because they were people of European descent, but even though they were born in the Americas, so they were kind of the upper crust, if you want to call it that, of the society.
Kind of like you.
And yeah, I mean, you can relate to that. Right?
Yeah, I'm not saying anything. Go ahead.
So Santa Anna's parents were wealthy enough to send their son to school. In 1810, the 16-year-old Santa Anna joined an infantry regiment as a cadet. And in 1810, he joined the colonial Spanish Army. Again, he was only 16.
Oh, my.
But Santa Anna was wounded in a battle. He was shot, must have been with Indians, because he had an arrow that hit him in his hand or arm during this campaign. A couple of years later, he served in Texas at what's called the Battle of Medina, and I didn't get a chance to look that up, so I'm not sure what that was. But he was cited for bravery in that, and he was promoted very quickly. He became a second lieutenant, and then a first lieutenant, and at this time he was only 18 years old. In 1816, he was promoted to captain. He conducted occasional campaigns against the Indians. Now, the Spanish territory extended, and I didn't realize this until I started in this article, it actually extended clear to up into Oregon.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge area, and clear to Panama in the south. And part of the problem here is that it was so large an area that the Spanish were not able to really control it. So now here we are a few years later, 1821. Santa Anna is now about 27 years old, and he gets to the rank of general. So now let's look at into the Texas area right now. A lot of these states, if you want to call them that, in that area, were not content with the Mexican authorities.
Mm-hmm.
The Texas Department of the Mexican state rebelled in late 1835, and they declared themselves independent in 1836. Now, okay, so here we have, and this is where it gets into what I talked about last week. Santa Anna marched north to bring Texas back under Mexican control, and he was just going to do it by force. So, but his expedition pretty much ended in disaster. In order to fund his and organize and equip his army, he relied on forcing wealthy men, Mexican landowners, to provide loans. He recruited anybody and everybody that he could find, derelicts, ex-convicts, even Indians who could not even understand the Spanish language. So if you can picture this kind of an army that he's in command of, and they suffered from the cold. They didn't have enough food. He didn't have enough horses, mules, cattle, wagons. And so, you know, if you were a soldier in that kind of an army, you can imagine what the morale was. I mean, the soldiers knew that there wasn't enough of anything. And the Indians would attack stragglers. The water sources were polluted, and a lot of the men got really sick. Well, Santa Anna was totally confident that if he did a show of force and had a few massacres, such as the Alamo and another one I'm going to talk about, that he would have the rebels begging for mercy. So, again, what I talked about last week, March 6th, 1836, the Battle of the Alamo, Santa Anna's forces killed, 189 Texan defenders, and later they executed more than 342 Texan prisoners at what they call the Goliad Massacre.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that here in a minute.
Yeah.
And really, both of these were a huge influence on what happened later.
Should I jump in now and do my commercial?
Yeah, this would be a good spot, Zeb.
Okay, we're going to find out more about Santa Anna and Alamo and the Battle of San Jacinto and everything else just a moment. Hey, if you'd like to start earning about $30,000 to $40,000 a year in as little as 4 or 5 weeks, well, then you'd better call Lucky Bourne at CSI's new Sage Truck Driving School in Burley right now, 878-5802. You will get one-on-one over-the-road training and all the necessary endorsements, and when you've earned your CDL, their team will even help you get your first truck driving job. So new classes begin every single week. All you have to do is call Lucky Bourne right now at CSI's new truck driving school in Burley, 878-5802. And now, back to that little old man from the Rhinelander woods, Dr. History.
Okay, here we go. The defeat at the Alamo, as bad as it was, it did serve a purpose because it bought time for General Sam Houston and his Texas forces. Now, Houston and his soldiers, we're going to get into this, but they defeated Santa Anna's much larger army at the Battle of San Jacinto. And in this battle in 1836, the Texans were shouting, remember the Alamo, remember the Goliad. And again, I'm going to get into that here. Now, before that, in 1835, the Texans, like I mentioned, they rebelled against the Mexican government of Santa Anna because Santa Anna had actually rescinded the Democratic Constitution of 1824. He dissolved Mexico's Congress and legislators, and basically he became the dictator over the Mexican country, the Mexican nation. Now, at this point, hundreds of volunteers from the United States headed into the Republic of Texas to help in this quest for independence. Now, there were 2 full regiments, and I don't know how many is in a regiment, but 2 full regiments of these volunteers were soon organized to help out the regular Texas Army. And again, I wish I knew how much was in a regiment, but I don't think it was a lot. But so in 1836, Santa Anna led a force of about 6,000 Mexican troops into what is now Texas to put down this insurrection, and this is where he went into San Antonio, and after a 13-day siege, he defeated and killed the Texan force at the Alamo. And then he defeated and captured and executed the survivors of a second force near Goliad. And again, I hadn't heard about this, but it's really a pretty sad thing. Santa Anna ordered the Goliad prisoners to be executed, to be shot. Now, the general that was underneath him did not want to do this. In fact, the general that was underneath him actually had tried to talk Santa Anna into not killing the people at the Alamo. Well, he was pretty well forced to follow orders. So as the prisoners were being led down the road in 3 columns between 2 lines of guards, basically the Mexican soldiers opened fire, and out of 303 Texan prisoners, there was only 28 that escaped.
Oh, my.
And there were about 40 that were wounded that were unable to walk, and only one of those survived. So basically this execution of 342 prisoners of war became known as the Goliad Massacre. And as I mentioned, at the Battle of San Jacinto, you could hear the cries of remember the Alamo and remember Goliad. So now we're going to get right into the battle here. It was late afternoon, 4:30 in the afternoon, April 21st. One of the scouts had announced that there was a burning of a bridge called Vincent's Bridge, and this cut off the only avenue of reinforcement and escape or retreat for both armies without having to cross water that was more than 10 feet deep. So The main Texan battle line moved forward with their approach, screened by trees and rising ground, and they came out from the woods, and the order was given to advance. Well, Sam Houston personally led the infantry. Now, they had two small brass artillery pieces known as the Twin Sisters, and they were wheeled forward and got into place. They only had 61 Texas cavalrymen on horseback, and they were going to go around to the left side of the Mexican army. So the Texan militia moved quickly and silently across this high grass plain, and then when they were only a few dozen yards away, they charged Santa Anna's camp. And again, shouting, "Remember the Alamo, remember Goliad," and they only stopped a few yards from the Mexicans to open fire. And a guy by the name of Manuel Flores is credited for taking the lead in the charge against Santa Anna's army. So basically the Texans achieved complete surprise. It was a bold attack in broad daylight, and its success can be pretty much attributed to, in a good part, to Santa Anna's relaxed attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had a whole bunch of people. I mean, his superior number of forces, he thought, nobody's going to attack us. Well, Santa Anna's army primarily consisted of professional soldiers. Now, back then, they were trained to fight in ranks, line up and exchange volleys with their opponents. Well, so the Mexicans were not prepared. I mean, they were unarmed at the time of the attack. A lot of them were asleep. And I find this interesting. A lot of them, they said, were asleep in the tents with their wives.
Yeah, the siesta. They were taking an afternoon siesta.
Yeah.
And they were
worn out from building fortifications.
Yeah.
Some were out gathering wood, and a lot of the cavalrymen were out just riding bareback, getting some water. And there was a general by the name of Manuel Castrillon, and he tried to mount an organized resistance, but he was soon shot and killed. And so at this point, the troops panicked and fled. And, Santa Anna's defensive line quickly collapsed. So at this point, you got hundreds of the demoralized and confused Mexican soldiers. They were routed, a lot of them being driven into the marshes along the river, and like I said, it was about 10 feet deep, and a lot of them drowned in the river. But the Texans chased after the army, and some of the Mexican cavalry plunged into the water, into the stream. There was a General Juan Almonte who was commanding what was left of the organized Mexican resistance, but pretty soon he could see it wasn't going to work, and so he surrendered his 400 remaining men, and the rest of Santa Anna's once proud army had just pretty much disintegrated into chaos. Just all over the place. So anyway, during this short but furious fighting, Sam Houston was shot in the left ankle. Two of his horses were shot out from under him, and supposedly Santa Anna escaped. And this battle, as bad as it was, only lasted about 18 minutes. Now, the Texan militia had won really an amazing victory over the Mexican soldiers. They killed about 700, wounded 208, and had taken about 730 prisoners, including Santa Anna. But the Texans didn't know they had captured Santa Anna until one of the prisoners called him El Presidente.
Oh.
What happened?
I'll bet that guy had a great career in the Mexican army after that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Santa Anna, basically, he disappeared during the battle.
Well, now let me ask you.
You alluded to this.
Did he really escape dressed as a woman? I had heard rumors and reports of that.
Nope. What he did is he took off his really ornate uniform, which I'm sure was really shiny and flashy, and then he got a uniform from a common soldier.
I see.
So anyway, a search party was sent out the next morning, and when surrounded in high grass and compelled to surrender, Santa Anna was initially thought to be just a common soldier. But when he was saluted as El Presidente by some of the other prisoners, of course, his true identity was discovered by the Texans, and Houston spared his life because he wanted to negotiate a withdrawal from Texas of Santa Anna's remaining troops. Now, and again, this is something that I found that I didn't realize, but measured by results, San Jacinto was actually one of the decisive battles of the world. I mean, the freedom of Texas from Mexico won here to the annexation in the United States of Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, California, Utah, parts of Colorado, Wyoming, Kansas, and Oklahoma.
Yeah, let me interrupt you right there, and I think you'll agree with this statement. I remember being taught that Battle of San Jacinto in history class as a sophomore in high school. And isn't it a shame today that if you went up to most people that are graduates of college, any major university, whatever, and asked them about the value of San Jacinto, the Battle of San Jacinto, the value as to what it meant to the United States, they would look at you with the blankest stare on their face?
Yeah, they would. And again, I was a little ignorant of this myself. I knew that it went into California and Arizona and Texas, but I had no idea that it came clear up, in some areas, clear up to Oregon.
Right.
And basically almost one-third of our American continent right now, or the United States, nearly 1 million square miles, changed from Mexican rule to American rule.
That's right.
I mean, there's a huge, I guess I'm surprised that there's not more talk about this Battle of San Jacinto and Sam Houston. And, we always hear about the Alamo, which had some effect, but it really did not have the same effect as the Battle of San Jacinto.
Well, there were 3 acts in the play, seriously, and this is how, if I remember correctly, Mr. Robb, my high school history teacher, taught it. The first act of the play was the inhumane treatment that Santa Anna had, not only against the citizens of the rest of the United States moving to Texas, but also the annihilation of the people at the Alamo. Secondarily was the act of heinous crimes committed at Goliad. And thirdly, the turnaround in this 3-act play was the Battle of San Jacinto and the effects it had on the United States itself. And there again, I'll say that I'll bet you most history teachers wouldn't even be able to teach that because they don't know about it.
Right. And again, I'm surprised that they're, like I say, the Alamo somehow has gotten all the attention. Maybe because of Jim Bowie, Dave Crockett, General Travis or Colonel Travis. I don't know. I would think that we would talk more about the Battle of San Jacinto when we talk about the freedom we have in this United States.
But when you bring up these stories every week and you put a lot of time and effort into them, it should draw to most people's minds. We have so much to remember and we have so much to honor and cherish, but we also have a lot of things that we don't want to make those mistakes again.
Exactly. Yeah, boy. Yes, that's exactly right. And again, you look at the small number of men at the Alamo, the small number really of Army at San Jacinto that basically took out a huge number of the Mexican
soldiers. It was the American spirit.
Yeah.
The American fighting spirit, and they were willing to put their lives on the line to die for a country that they loved.
Yes. And I guess that's why, again, I have a hard time when people badmouth the United States. They badmouth, as Americans, they badmouth, a lot of things that go on here. But you couldn't ask for a better country to live in.
Real quick, and I've only got a minute left. Caller, make it short and precise. Go ahead, please.
I will. So what happened to Santa Anna? Where did he die? Where did he go? Thank you.
Very good question. Very good question.
I had that, but I don't have it with me right now.
If I remember, there were threats on his life, and they had at one time considered putting him in front of a firing squad. And I think there was negotiations. Now, please check on this, Dr. History, but I think there were negotiations that he could never take or gain or rule again. And I think he lived to be about another 10 years more, and then he died a broken man.
Yeah, I'm thinking that he didn't. Yeah, he lasted another 10 years or so, but I can't remember where. I know that he had some children.
Yeah.
I know that he had at least 3 children. That he was married, and in fact, I think he was married twice. Mm-hmm. And he did have children. But I believe you're right. I just don't have that in front of me.
If you could check on that, and I've got a book over here about Texas independence. I'll do some research on that too, but next week make a note and we'll highlight that. But I believe he actually retired in disgrace, and I think he lost everything and became a very closed and closed-off old man.
Yeah, well, and even the Mexican people, they... rejected him too.
Yeah. Hey, you did a fantastic job. The absolute structure of the story was perfect, and you deserve a great big round of applause. And even from our chorus that's over at the station that Gina has, we pay them big money. You deserve 2 hallelujahs for this program this morning. Gina, if you would, please.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
There you go, Dr. History. God bless you.
Any better than that?
I tell you what, it doesn't get any better than that. You're right. Thanks to listening to Dr. History, brought to you by the new CSI Sage Truck Driving School with Lucky Bourne in Burley, 878-5802. Doc, God bless. Have a great day.
You have a good day, Zeb.
Thank you. And I tell you what, that's worth another hallelujah, please.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I love it. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Don't go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much and welcome back. Don't forget, we're going to have our next lunch bunch on the 26th at Perkins Restaurant and Bakery at 800 North Overland in Burley. And at Perkins, they always say they believe in being best buds with your taste buds. Don't forget the great breakfast, dinners, lunches, all the pies, the cakes, the brownies, the muffins. It's all delicious at Perkins Restaurant and Bakery, 800 North Overland in Burley. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, we're going to be over at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And, of course, Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Lennox, of course, helping get us over there for the big remote broadcast tomorrow. Hats off to Farmers and Patriots Day. And whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric can save you money. At Ramsey's, they sell warm winters and cool summers for over 53 years. Come on over to Ramsey's tomorrow morning. Breakfast at 7 with George Mass, and then the remote broadcast from 8 to 11. We are going to have a good time. I'm very proud and honored to have a gentleman that's been a good friend of mine for a long, long time, and he's been on this program many, many times, and that's Norm Simanko, attorney and also director of the Idaho Water Users Association. Norm, good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Well, good morning, Zeb. How are you?
Well, Norm, to say the least, I'm a little bit more than concerned about what's happening in this world with the EPA and the FDA and all the rules and the regulatory systems and all the basically condensing of what we can do and can't do in this country. And now, after I read a story about irrigation water and how it's really being scrutinized in the state of Idaho, I got really scared. Would you bring us up to speed on what's happening with the Food Safety Modernization Act?
I'd be glad to do that, Zeb, and it is a real cause for concern. If you grow as a farmer, this applies to farmers, so any individual farmer that receives surface irrigation water in particular from Canal Company Irrigation District and grows any of, there's 200 plus fresh produce crops, everything ranging from berries to apricots to broccoli to cabbage to lettuce, I mean, you name it. If it's eaten raw or it can be eaten raw. FDA is proposing a rule. It's very simple. Once you receive the irrigation water on your farm, you have to test it, and you have to test it every 7 days for E. coli and bacteria. And if it exceeds the primary contact recreation standard, which means they want it delivered of a sufficient quality for a pool, for a swimming pool. If it doesn't meet that standard, the farmer has to stop using the irrigation water immediately until he secures, get this, an alternative supply, or he treats the water to where it's sufficient for a swimming pool. In other words, you're not going to be able to use the irrigation water anymore for fresh produce if this passes.
Well, now, Norm, I don't have the knowledge on this subject that you do, but I would say in a blatant statement, this could never happen because there's no way in the world you could adhere to those standards. Am I right?
No, you're exactly right. And in fact, we are in the process of preparing comments now, and we've already presented preliminary information to FDA showing the E. coli levels, certainly in many of our canals and drains where deliveries are made from, don't get anywhere near meeting the standards. But even the E. coli bacteria measurements in the natural sources, in the rivers, in most cases don't meet the criteria on at least one occasion, which is all it takes to trigger the shut-off of the water. So, they're amazed to hear that we have such things as critters out in nature that provide bacteria to the water. They can't believe it. They don't understand that we're not delivering swimming pool quality water from our rivers and our canal systems, nor do we need to. We've been providing water adequate for farmers for over 100 years in many cases, and we haven't had any documented food safety problems associated with delivering irrigation water. But when you make the question, can you deliver water sufficient for a swimming pool, well, you're setting yourself up for failure, and it's a rule that absolutely makes no sense and, frankly, isn't required under this act that Congress passed. The rule has gone too far, and we're hopeful they're going to turn it back and not do this.
Norm, I guess an obvious question, and I'll act a little naive when I ask this, but how could anybody involved in agriculture, how could anybody involved in the FDA, how could anybody with common sense expect to have irrigation water that clean?
Well, you can't. Anybody with common sense, that's the key. So we were at, a number of us, farmers and water users, providers, and those that are concerned, we're at a FDA listening session. They actually came out to the state and out to Oregon and Washington a couple weeks ago. We were in Ontario, Oregon, and I asked the question, where did this standard come from? Why did you put this in the proposed rule? And the fellow from Massachusetts, who went to college in Massachusetts, said, well, we've heard of this standard. It's familiar and convenient to us, so we put it in there. To which I responded, so it doesn't bear any relationship to science or what's required or what the Act requires. And that's when his boss stepped in and tried to answer the question in a more politically correct way. But they know that they know now the standard doesn't make any sense. The question is, what are they going to replace it with? Because they're under a court order, and the Congressional Act actually requires that they adopt some kind of rule with regard to water. So what are they going to do? And we're going to propose that they just simply meet the standard that's laid forth in the Act, which is that the water be of sufficient quality for its intended purpose. Doesn't need to be a numeric standard. There shouldn't have to be any testing. Farmers know. They've been receiving water in our systems for over 100 years. They know when the water, in common sense, is adequate for the purposes it's intended. If they have some kind of calamity on their farm, some kind of unintended accident that renders the water on their farm unusable, they know what that is. They know how to deal with that. They'll take care of it. But right now, the thing is set up to basically shut down all irrigation water supplies in Idaho, virtually everyone, at least on some occasion. And what are we going to do? There's no approved product to treat this water. Are we going to put chlorine in the water? I'm sure the environmental groups really love that.
Well, let me ask you, Norm, explain to my audience. A lot of people always want to get to the bottom line, which many times means money, and describe to the audience exactly how costly these idiotic tests would be.
Well, yeah, of course, the tests are at some level irrelevant because if you flunk the test, you can't use the water at all. Mm-hmm. But the tests, just themselves, the tests, we looked at it for the onion industry in southwest Idaho and eastern Oregon, about a $400 to $500 million a year, if I remember correctly, industry. And just for that industry and those farmers in that region to do the testing would be in the neighborhood of $1 million a year.
Oh my.
For those farmers just to do the testing. And the Act says, the Food Safety Modernization Act, and this was passed by Congress in late 2010 during the lame duck session, the Act itself says, and I think Senator Tester got this inserted, that there won't be any economic impact in terms of having to hire consultants or experts on farmers. Now, last I checked, most farmers don't have water quality testing labs on site as part of their farming operations. So most farmers are going to have to hire this out done. So that seems to be a violation of the Act by itself. But you're right, the cost is going to be significant, and FDA's falling all over themselves saying, well, maybe you can get Extension Service or university or somebody else to do it for you. And that's, of course, very speculative and unlikely to happen.
Norm, you're a sharp guy, and that's why I take a lot of pride in having you on the air, because you always tell it like it is. Do you think that this is just the tip of the iceberg story to the point where this is another slap in agriculture's face to shut down American agriculture?
Well, that's a great question, Zeb. We are very concerned. The food producers of Idaho have put together an ad hoc committee to put the comments together. This unifies the grower groups. This is being placed as a burden on the farmers, but the water provider folks also understand the concerns this will raise. So the water users are part of that, and myself, along with Candy Fitch from the apple and onion industry in Idaho, are co-chairing this group. And one of the things we've noticed is that this is one of 5 rules that will be proposed by FDA. There's another rule which has not been issued yet that deals with water quality safety requirements for livestock, as well as other safety requirements for livestock. Now, what's that going to say about any of the grains or other things, hay or whatever, and how that's grown? Is that now going to have this goofy water quality requirement on? We don't know. And the other thing is, this is the laugher. Supposedly, these same standards that are imposed by FDA on our farmers will be imposed by FDA internationally in other countries. Now, you tell me, Zeb, how that's going to work. We've already seen in the ag paper there locally that 2 of the countries that are concerned about this threatened to bring a complaint with the World Trade Organization that they don't believe that they should have to comply with this. So is there going to be any intent to comply with this? Are they really going to comply with it? Is it just going to be a burden like so many others that are placed on our farmers? And are we now going to see more of our fresh produce imported from, you name the country, Argentina, China, whatever?
You know, when you talk about a problem like this, and a lot of people are shaking their heads and they might be snickering saying, oh, well, this will never happen, that's when you really got to look out, because there could be a sucker punch coming in from the corner. I'm really concerned about this issue, Norm, because when you look at the overlaying factors of, now they're talking about irrigation water, but when you're back in the Midwest, let's say you're along the Mississippi River, and a lot of the water and, of course, the sun drawing the water up and then the rainwater, actually there could be a condemnation of any water for any crop grown in the United States. And I'm not trying to be facetious, but really, these people could be outlandish enough to say that all rainwater is bad. We can't use it on any crop, and we can't utilize that type of agriculture.
No, that's a great point, Zeb, and we barely touched on the surface of what's in this rule. There's also requirements that there can't be any produce, the edible portion of produce, coming into contact with pooled water, which, of course, that's going to matter anywhere, not just in irrigated country like Idaho or Oregon or Washington. Also can't allow animals to come into contact with the produce.
Oh, my.
In the rule. So you're seeing opposition from led by folks not just from the Northwest, and we've had great support from Senator Crapo and Congressman Simpson and others, but also from Congressman Benishek, who's from Michigan. He's been a leader in this, in introducing an amendment to the Farm Bill, which didn't get allowed to move forward, but we've also seen legislation introduced by Senator Crapo in the Senate and offered as a Farm Bill amendment, which again he wasn't allowed to offer, by Senator Reed, putting a halt to that. So people do take it very seriously. They need to take it very seriously, but it's kind of like when the Endangered Species Act got passed back in the 70s. People say, well, this is for the polar bears and the grizzly bears and the bald eagles, and they weren't really concerned about. And of course, the devil's in the details, and the details come with the rules and the litigation and the environmental activism and pushing this. And already we're hearing now not just how bad this rule is, but hey, maybe it should apply to potatoes and sugar beets and other things that, as drafted, it doesn't apply to. How far will the environmental activist litigation push this thing?
Norm, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being really serious, 1 being not so serious, where are we on this issue? What are your fears on behalf of the Idaho water users as far as how far these people are going to push this?
Well, for farmers, right now, this is if you grow fresh produce of any kind and receive water from surface irrigation facilities, the concern's got to be a 10, because not only do you have to test the water every 7 days during the growing season, but if there is 235 colony-forming units of bacteria, now that's the primary contact recreation standard, you must immediately cease using the water. You cannot use it. So it's got to be a 10 for farmers that have. Now, for the irrigation entities, the burden is not strictly on them, but hey, the farmers are us. They're our boards of directors. They're the folks that we deliver the water to. So it's going to, at some level, impact the irrigation delivery entities. And you can't really, in a giant irrigation delivery system, even a small one. You can't differentiate between, hey, this guy's growing fresh produce and this guy's not, so this guy's going to get a certain quality water and the other guy's going to get a different quality water. With that, we can't operate that way, and it's a major, major cause for concern.
What can we do as a public, and what should we be doing, not only to support agriculture, but to eliminate this idiocy that's going on in this country? What would you tell me and my audience we should do?
Well, there's a couple things. One is call your congressional office. They've heard this, but they need to hear it from more folks, and potentially, and especially from individual farmers. Stop the produce rule. Stop FDA's food safety produce rule from being promulgated. They need to hear that. The comment deadline is November 15th. It's already been extended twice, so FDA knows there's a problem with this. The second thing is support your commodity groups, whether it's the onion growers, whatever grower group you belong to, the water users. Support them as they're putting in the food producers of Idaho. They're putting these comments together. We've had to bring some technical muscle in so we can show FDA, hey, here is what the E. coli measurements on record are in Idaho, and we obviously can't meet the standard. And we've had to bring, frankly, some legal muscle to the table as well. So that's costing money, and we need to make sure that we get those comments done for the November 15th deadline. And then, finally, just let your neighbors know if you hear about this and they didn't hear the show or haven't heard about this, didn't read the paper, let them know about it. It is cause for concern.
Norm, are there other states that basically are jumping on board with us as far as a fight is concerned to stand up for what's right? Are other states also, like Colorado, Utah, et cetera, are they also under the gun?
Through our National Water Resource Association, we talk with all the western states, and they're certainly concerned, and our national group is putting comments together. Washington is very active. Of course, this has potential huge ramifications for the apple and cherry industries. Those are crops that are grown and going to be consumed raw, and they come into contact with irrigation water through sprinkler, etc. So it doesn't take a lot of imagination to realize that they're impacted. So Washington is very active. Oregon's pretty active, especially with the onion growers in the area that we share between Idaho and Oregon in that corner of the state. So those are the states I'm most familiar with. I will tell you that I spoke to a National Conference of State Legislators group down in Atlanta, and of all states, a couple weeks ago, and of all states, Hawaii. Their legislators were very concerned about this. So the word is spreading. People are concerned. The question now is, will FDA make a change? We think they're open to that. And then what would the change be? Is it something we can live with? And like I said, a narrative standard that simply says the water has to be of sufficient quality for the purpose intended, agriculture, is something we could probably live with. It's already in the Act. It's kind of hard to get rid of it. You know what it's like to get Congress to do anything these days. But taking it that next level with FDA interpreting it to require a numeric standard and adopting a numeric standard that's what you need for swimming pool quality water and for beaches, that's not the water we deliver for irrigation, and it's not what's required scientifically to provide safe water that's adequate for farmers. Hey, guess what? For 100 years, if farmers are getting water from the canal entities that's not of sufficient quality, they let them know it. They know what's good enough. They are the ones that grow the crops. They know what's needed, and FDA's rule is not what is needed.
Absolutely. Norm, I'm so grateful that you shared with us exactly what's going on with this FDA ruling that could absolutely stymie agriculture. I'll stay on top of the story right here and probably have you back in the not-too-distant future. But Norm Samanka with the Idaho Water Users Association, thank you very much.
Happy to do it. Take care.
God bless. Thank you. Wow. Another slap in the face of American agriculture because of people that are unknowledgeable. Or maybe they're not. Maybe they know too much, and they're trying to just absolutely destroy this country's great agricultural program. And I've said it on this program many, many times. A country that can't feed itself is subservient to the rest of the world. We'll stay on top of this story and have Norm back on in the not-too-distant future and discuss this some more. Hey, we've got a weather update right now, and Michael Rogers' weather is brought to you this hour by Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps, and your family will always enjoy the comfort of Lennox from Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Here now, Michael Rogers' weather.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Tom. Welcome to Tuesday. Sunny, clouds 83 for the high, 57 for the overnight low. I'm not going to root out a slight chance of a thunderstorm because it's still summertime. I don't think it's going to happen today. I know tomorrow it's going to happen. But otherwise, if it does happen, please do not be surprised. It's still summertime weather, even though we are officially into fall. Otherwise, have yourself a great day. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you've got.
Thank you, Michael. Brought to you by Lennox Home Comfort Systems at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. We're going to be going to the phone lines in just a minute and talking to Steve over at Valleywide Home and Ranch, and I want to remind you, real quick, we're going to be over at Ramsey Heating and Electric tomorrow morning for our remote broadcast for Hats Off to Farmers and Patriots Day. Come on by for breakfast, and we'll have biscuits and gravy and everything else right there with George Mass right out in front of Ramsey's. Don't miss it tomorrow. Please come by and say hello at Ramsey Heating and Electric for Patriots Day and Hats Off to Farmers tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Oh, and by the way, too, don't forget a great big tire sale going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I'm talking a tire sale. I'm talking a big tire sale. I'm talking about savings like on the passenger car tire called Strategy starting at just $89.48 with a 60,000-mile warranty. And I'm talking about custom wheels on sale. And I'm talking about light truck and SUV tire, the Wildcat AT2 on sale. Smooth, quiet ride starting at just $117.15. All of these tires, much, much more, at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with the best in service, the best in car care, the best in brake service, the best. Dave on Blue Lakes in Twin Falls, Mike in Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Lane and Rupert, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Let's go to Gina real quick and see if we have Steve on the line.
I'm on hold.
We spend most of our life on hold.
Yes, we do.
and what do you want to talk about while you're on hold there, hon?
Well, I don't know. Of course, well, I can't listen with two things going on in my ear.
Oh, I won't.
Do another commercial.
I will not bother you. And let's see what else have I got cooking here real quick. Tomorrow on the program, as I mentioned, we're going to be over at Ramsey Heating and Electric, and we've got the big Patriots Day tribute. This thing has grown every year in popularity, and I've got many people dropping by, and going to issue their opinions about 911 and Patriots Day, and also hats off to farmers. And then, of course, I just got word this morning from back in Washington, D.C., that our United States Senator Mike Crapo should be calling in to give us a quick little verbiage about Patriots Day, so we're looking forward to that. And just going to be a full-time, good time tomorrow morning at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Let's see if we have Steve on the air with us. Got him. Ladies and gentlemen, the manager of Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert, and a good friend to boot. And tomorrow there's big doings going on at Valleywide, too. Proud to be an American for Patriots Day. Steve, my good buddy, what's cooking over there?
Hey, Zeb, how you doing today, bud?
I am great.
We're just getting ready to have a big Patriot Day sale, and just to show our appreciation for the veterans and for, what happened on 9/11, and just want everybody to come in for the $1 hamburgers or 2 hot dogs for $1 and just come in and enjoy the day with us.
Now, all proceeds of the luncheon are going to go to the Rupert POWMIA, and I want to salute you and Valleywide. You have been very, very supportive of this organization.
We really have, and, we really feel good about that, Zeb. I mean, even myself, I've, got a grandson in the service, and, these guys are doing stuff for us that, Zeb, that I think sometimes we all take for granted that life is just the way it is.
Absolutely.
But honestly, these gentlemen and women that are in the service, make it so our life is the way it is.
I want to interrupt you right there and say that I was really overcome with pride listening to the pride in your voice when you were talking about your grandson the other day. Hats off to you, man. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I'm awful proud of him, too. I mean, that's what keeps us safe. here in the U.S.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the specials you got. I understand for the first 150 people that go into Valleywide tomorrow and spend $10 or more, you've got a special gift for them. What is that?
Yeah, we do. We've got a little American flags that we're going to give to them, and then we also have a fold-up pocket knife.
Okay.
So, yep, just something to show our appreciation and their support that they give us here at Valleywide Home and Ranch.
All right, now, what are some of the specials? I understand now that you got a full-fledged fishing department, and you're going to have 10% off on all the fishing equipment. And tell us a little bit more about that.
We are. We put in a section on fishing. Pretty good selection. We've had a lot of good comments about it, and people really glad that we are carrying, what we're carrying. And so we're going to do I believe, Zeb, I don't have that ad actually right in front of me, but I do believe it's 10 off on all of our fishing equipment up there, and lures and all that kind of stuff, bait, catfish bait, you name it. And so fun stuff. Everybody around here likes to fish.
Absolutely.
And then we're going to do some clothing specials. We just got all kinds of stuff we're going to play with and have fun with tomorrow.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize, too, you remodeled the entirety of the inside of Valleywide Home and Ranch at 910 South Oneida, and it is chock full of great items for the home, the farm, the family, everybody. It's a great store.
Yeah, it is. It's got a real good mix of products in here, from, like I said, the new fishing that we added, to hardware, to lawn and garden, to horse tack. I know that's going to be on special. To, our feed, our fencing, show supplies. Yeah, it's a great time. We are very strong as a 4-H supporter. And we love that.
I'll tell you what, folks, tomorrow, proud to be an American on Patriots Day, Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida and Rupert. My good friend Steve, thanks so much, Steve. God bless, and we'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Have a great day.
Take care, you guys.
Thank you. Thank you much. There's a good old boy right there, Steve Lakey, over at Valleywide Home and Ranch, and good people with Patriots Day, proud to be an American tomorrow. We will see you on the radio tomorrow morning early. We're going to be there at 7 o'clock at Ramsey Heating and Electric for the breakfast. Come on by, say howdy, and then, of course, at 8:06 to 11, right on the air at Ramsey Heating and Electric. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow morning. The way things were are the way things ought to be.